sacrificios. Mamá les ama. Mamá les encontrará y traerá a casa nuevamente para que podamos estar juntos para siempre.
Surrounding me tonight. I'm an extraterrestrial hostage
All right, guys. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality. I'm your host, Josh Turner, and here we are. Let me get started here. Oh, man. Got a few things to talk about while we wait for people to jump into the queue, and they will. They always do. We always have a good little crowd that jumps in and tells us a bunch of weird stuff on Mondays, right? Sometimes we end up having to do it on a different day or whatever, but it always happens. A lot of weird stuff out there. What in the hell is going on with my elbow? Like I was looking at that earlier in the mirror, and it doesn't look like it does on camera. Like it's all scuffed up. I don't know what the heck is going on with that. I think this one. Maybe it's something sitting on this table. Like it's weird. Last time I asked about that, it went away. Like I just, because I lift weights and I put my elbows on everything. And I thought, well, maybe it's something from lifting weights, but it just doesn't look like that. It looks like it on camera. But if you have any of your home remedies out there and you want to tell me how to get rid of the elbow problem, well, not a problem, but whatever, Last time people flooded my inbox on how to get rid of that. Coconut oil. There we go. So I need to put coconut oil on this thing. What is this? Let me move this microphone out of the way. See, on that side. Yeah, I got a little bit on that side. Know what that is, man. I've had it there for as long as I can remember. But it just doesn't. It looks weird, like it looks red on the camera, but in person doesn't look like that. Crossroads Canine says, yesterday you mentioned the tonight. Let's bring Dick Richards on. What the heck are you at? Are you camping now?
I'm up at the cottage.
Up at the cottage? You have a cottage? What is this?
Yeah, we have a cottage.
Who's we? You have like this, your family has like what are they, dynastic people? They have a cottage?
Yeah, they got it for a good deal back in the day.
Really?
Last of the cheap cottages, that's for sure.
So what do you do there?
Right now we're redoing the roof, to be honest with you.
Oh, so you're up there looking like Ed Gein. Are you dancing around with skins like by the moonlight?
I've got the skins just inside. If I turned on the light, you could see them hanging.
Jeez Louise.
It's nice, man. It's on an island all by itself. It's middle of nowhere. We got the whole one side of the lake.
That said something important. It says, Josh, stop looking at it. Laugh out loud. You're fine. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Take a look at it again. There it is right there. I don't know. I'm joking with you. I'm messing with you. I don't care, dude. I'm messing with you. So because you're dressed like you're like a serial killer. Like you're ready to go
Canadian, kill. It's the Canadian dinner jacket.
Canadian dinner jacket? Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm from a different country. I'm from a normal country where we have T-shirts and stuff in September. We don't have to wear Ed Gein clothing line.
Dude, it's like 12 degrees centigrade out here right now.
Okay, so in English, for those that don't know what that is, so it's 50 degrees, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, but explain to people in English so they know what this is. This is America, okay? And you're talking to an American. I know you're up there in the horrible north, whatever.
Fahrenheit doesn't make sense, dude.
Neither does yards and all the other stuff we do. But you know what? It's the American imperial system, sir.
All right.
Okay. And here in America, we believe in a lot of dumb shit. All right. That's how it is.
We use inches and feet and then meters. So you can imagine how confusing that might be.
Well, here's an Australian that'll back you up because I'm sure he uses the meters too, eh?
Oi, g'day. How you going, brothers?
So I got a couple of the Commonwealth folks here. How's it going?
I was about to say that English do use the metric system now, mate. So, ye olde English, sure.
Well, I was saying in English because it's a heathen way to talk. That's all. It's just
there's an English. Yeah, there's an Englishman about 6 feet that way. So yeah,
it's a really.
Yeah, well, that's what Americans don't speak English. They speak American.
They speak American, eh?
That's right. Yeah, fair
Well,
dinkum.
if I just talk like I normally talk, I have a bit of a draw. It's not real pronounced, but it kind of I talk like this.
Yeah, I was banging it on too. I was
Talking like
banging it on too, mate. I do
I'm from the
say mate,
South.
I was banging it on for a second. Throwing in a bit of Steve Irway there. Yeah, I'm not trolling. I've got some proper like Yowie stories. I grew up on the southeast coast of New South Wales.
Yeah.
Now it's like a Yowie hotspot. Our local region Yowie called the Doolaga or Doolagal, depending what tribe you're in. And he's like the cannibal of the outback. He's the bad one, mate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's the one with the big one that's built like an Alaskan Sasquatch. You know, they're just massively built. But we're not cold here, so it doesn't make much sense unless they're a cannibal beast. And it's meant to have the tusks and stuff too. But it's got black eyes, not red ones. Then we got another type that's up north. I don't know, I'll close some stuff down. I'm on Starlink. It shouldn't be too bad. Sorry.
So your hat looks like it's been through some stuff there. What do you got? What's been going on with the hat? You've been wrestling some.
That's New Zealand. That's New Zealand soft crushed cowhide. You can roll it up in a little ball, and it's just wonderful and soft. For my old man head, I'm getting old now.
Old man head. That's the Wellington special.
I
Right?
need that. Yeah, we'll get some Steve Irwin going on. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So we got another two types of yowies. We got one up north called a quinkin, and they're a tall, thin, slender one that doesn't really compete with tribal humans because we live the same way in the environment, and they have their places we respect, and we have our places we respect. And so if you're like stuck in the desert and stuff and you're alone and not in a group of people, a yowie might find you and lead you to a water reservoir. I've heard stories about that. Not a yowie, I mean a quinkin. Specifically a quinkin is the up north one. And then all up and down, from the tall good ones down to our big bastard ones down here, we've got these ones called Junjadi or Junjadi. And they're the little 3-foot ones. And that's why you don't let your kids wear bright clothing when you go camping, right? Because if they can't compete with other big Sasquatches, so they're already angry in the woods. And when they see someone that looks like a big Sasquatch, like a human, like walking around, an adult human, like we're not that far off a yowie, mate. If they can get a hold of one of your kids and brain it, they will.
Oh.
And that's where kids go missing. It's not the big ones and stuff. It's the little ones that you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
There you go. That's just a start of a bit of a backlaw. I'll let you guys talk for a bit while you have some questions.
Well, I got a few questions for you. You said that you're from New Queensland, right?
I'm from New South Wales, and we've got the baddie ones and the little ones here. I'll turn off my camera so I don't lag too much while you're talking. It might be the other camera.
New South Wales is where most of the major cities are in Australia, though, right?
Yeah, it's the most populous state, on the east coast, but not too far up north. We're in the nice temperate, like that. We've got areas called the Southern Highlands, like little Scotland and stuff down here, you know.
Okay. Because I know New South Wales is Canberra, which is the capital, right? And
that's 2 hours north. 2 hours north of me, sorry.
2 hours north. Okay, so you're down
in Melbourne, south. Yeah.
So Melbourne, are you near Melbourne? Or are you in Melbourne?
8 hours north of Melbourne and 2 hours south of Canberra. So I'm in there on the southeast coast.
Okay, so you're 2 hours north of Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm like we've had all the famous yowie hunters down here. I can't remember their Aussie names or whatever. Dean Harrison's one of them. You'd know him. YowieHunters.com. Yeah. Who's the other guy? They've all been down here for years, ever since I was growing up. And we got a few local legends and stuff. Have you heard of old Fire Hands?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
It's a popular story.
Are you?
Yeah, Dean Harrison does it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you near Mount Kazakusko or Kazakuska, however you say it? Is that where you're from? That area?
I wouldn't know. There's so many Aboriginal names inland of all like this Kikakanalong and Waikatanga and Rollerballer String, and there's so many places like that it's hard to keep up. But
well, it's a pretty big
Coonabarabran. That's it. Coonabarabran.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not from Coonabarabran. That's a little bit away from me, about 45 minutes drive. Not that far, but yeah, I know people from up there that I know from bloody high school and stuff. And I believe these guys, right? They're not the kind of guys that bullshit you. They're like straight shooters. They go out there shooting roos and all sorts of shit, right?
Yeah.
And they don't fucking bullshit. And yeah, they've seen fire hands at the local dump, mate.
So here's the question I have, because that mountain that we're talking about, I don't know how. I've never heard it said, but I know how it's spelled, and it's like Kosciu some crap.
Yeah, I know Coonabarabran is like one of the hot.
It's called Kosciuszko, something like that.
Mount Kosciuszko is our. I think Mount. So yeah, that's our highest national park. Yeah.
So I got an email from that place. All right. And there was a guy that sent me a story of a black-haired dogman in that area, like that Mount Kosciuszko, whatever it's called. Yeah.
I've only ever heard of one dogman story firsthand, but yeah. Sorry if I interrupted.
No, it's fine. King Grooves, how are you doing? Thanks for being patient. So, no, what I was going to tell you, Elf Irwin, that's what you want to go by. There have been a lot of dogman reports out of Australia, strangely enough. I mean, people say really weird things. They'll say like, well, there's no dogman in Australia. Bullshit. I mean, when I was on Dogman Encounters, there was multiple people who had given stories, and I'd gone over them with Vic Cundon. Not the person in the world, but he has a massive following of people that follow the dogman phenomena through him.
I used to follow every one of his videos, and that's how I heard about you, dude. The first time you were ever on one of his shows, I was listening to it. That's how I found you, dude. Man. It was like 15. It was like 12 years ago or 10 years ago.
I was on his show about a dozen times. He took some of my work off of there, which is perfectly fine with me. But the thing is, he didn't want any woo on there. He wanted it all to be physical. And I told him, I said, even though he began to believe, and this is what he told me, that it was something not totally physical, but he wanted to make it believe, people, because he wanted the narrative to be. Yeah,
but he's still, if he starts adding in orbs and stuff, yeah, he's going to lose people.
Yeah, the Dogman people in the early going wanted, when it began to gain traction, they wanted it to be like the Bigfoot. They wanted everybody to, it's just Bigfoot type thing. It's just the same thing. It's just a werewolf looking thing.
No, I think
that's not what it is. The thing looks like a werewolf because that's what it is, and we can call it what it is. I was looking up reports and from what we were talking about last night about the Dogman, and one of them came out of, because I have it alphabetized. Well, I did up to a degree until Tony got a hold of it, but I had Canberra right there near Fort Campbell. And so when I was looking at reports, I found a bunch of them in Fort Campbell, and there were a bunch of them all over the internet. And then right below that was Canberra. So in an area called Wollongong, you know where Wollongong is? Right there. Yeah, right there on the coast, right there south of Wollongong, there was a report I got of a dogman type creature that chased some campers, and definitely was a dogman. I mean, it was a big thing with a snout, and some of the people there tried to convince these campers that what they had seen was a wild man.
No.
It was a wild man that was living out on the grid, and they were like, no. And then some other people said, well, it was a yowie, but it wasn't a yowie.
Yeah. I was about to say that a wild man in Australia is a yowie by definition anyway. But just one quick thing is the only dogman I've heard from somewhat, people used to send me, I used to do little bits of them, and people sent them to me on Facebook when I used to be on all these shows. And now I'm getting back into them after a bit of an accident and stuff. But I've heard of one that looked like an upright dingo, like it was sand-coloured and very short-haired, no mane. It didn't have the huge ears or whatever, but its head was not broad, but long. Like if you imagine the length of a horse's head, it didn't have the broadness of like a pit bull, but it was long, you know, like it had the big, long, narrow jaw.
So if you were to look for an area that would have Dogman, like in your opinion, what state? You know, I mean, there's not a whole lot. There's only like what 5 territories in Australia. What territory would you say that Dogman would be?
I'd say the southeast coast where I'm at is the most moderate temperature. It's not too hot up north, but up north gets very, very tropical. But I don't think dogs like the tropics too much unless they're very specialized for it, like the dingoes and stuff. So I'd say they'd be sub-temperate, and they're about from probably Canberra down, because Canberra does get quite cold. And the descriptions of Dogman with their manes and coats do look kind of like frost hardy, right?
Mm-hmm. I have another question for you. Since you're living there in Australia, I've wondered about this before, and I've talked to different people who've told me what they believe. And the Western Australia, which is its own area, right? And in Australia, I guess the largest city would be Perth, to the southwest of there, right?
Yeah, and Fremantle over there. That's about the 2 biggies. Yep.
Perth is where you get the gold. There's gold there, and there's a lot of the Perth mint is very popular. I have a lot of that gold bullion from Perth. I have that and the Turkish.
It's great stuff. I've got a little bit, but I'm not telling you how much or where it is. It's in the dirt somewhere.
Well, there's a lot of land, but you know what's weird though is in Western Australia and in New South Wales, which are like this. You know, they're so far apart from one another. But the dingo, there's a lot of dingo in the south of Western Australia. Why is that? And then there's a sparse population. Well, around Adelaide, there's a bunch of them, and then they go down to where you're at. But why is it? Why are they spread the way they are? Why is that? I've always wondered.
Okay, right. So here's a lot of things that people don't realize. Is a lot of people think Indigenous people colonized all of Australia before we got here. But their numbers were literally so small that where they migrated from 50,000 years ago, Aboriginals on the East Coast and West Coast are more genetically separated over 50,000 years and diverse than the similarities between Native Americans and modern Chinese. That's how far the East and West Coast is in Australia and how far it is to cross. Over 50,000 years, our Aboriginals are 2 distinctly different populations. People don't realise this. And, you know, the only one that actually make it across the friggin' desert and survive probably is a bloody dingo, mate, you know?
Yeah. I guess if they hug the coast and then they, but there's a huge population down there. And that's what's weird is there's these 2 huge populations. And then there's kind of like in the west of South Australia, you know, where the largest city is Adelaide, you have this like barren area that they don't go to. And then you see them pop up again about 100 miles east of Perth and then to the north. And then there's a few there's a few of them in the Northern Territory below Darwin.
We know they did communicate, but it was very rare. We can't see the evidence genetically, like population swapping, but we know by their folklore and history, they are kind of, they're all talking about the same things in their different dialects. And so people would have walked with their dingo, and their dingoes would have helped them hunt as they went from east to west or west to east. You'd have to have your pack dogs with you to get your food and stuff, even if you ate them on the bloody way. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be about the only way you'd be able to do it. And so, genetically, we can't see too much similarity. After 50,000 years ago, they uniquely split east and west, and that's a crazy thing. And I never realised that dingoes were so sparse in the middle of the outback. Like you're saying, there's 2 big populations. One's east and one's west. How did they get to each side? And I'm thinking it's the original people coming through already had them, like the Asiatic wild dog, right?
Yeah, and according to what different researchers have differing opinions or views on when they showed up. Here's the weird thing. Okay. And I do have a few dingo Dogman reports, but they're not very many. I have maybe 2. Well, no, I might have 3. I don't know. It depends on where they're at. I mean, I got to go look it up, but I know that I read one. And oddly enough, one of them was north of Adelaide, and then the other one was in Wollongong, whatever that place is.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I've only ever heard of one dingo Dogman, and I never heard of a black Dogman in Australia. I always thought people were talking about the
whatever it's called. Oh yeah,
I thought they were talking about.
But in Queensland, there's reports of them in Queensland too. Yeah, I know because I covered some when we were working with that other show. Here's a weird thing: the reports vary so much. They're between 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, according to whatever this is here. I just looked it up, and I'm trying. One thing is moving slow here. Okay, I knew there was a huge disparity there, and then other researchers say that it was 4,600 to 18,300 years ago. So,
and what is the specific disparity?
Yeah, we're talking about the dingoes and their population there. Yeah. And of course, you know, I've read this before, but most likely they descended from a Chinese dog. I mean, that's where they came from.
And there's probably successive waves of other Pacific Islanders coming in later within the last 12,000 years that also brought other species in, and that would be the schism you're talking about, where it turns from the ancient wild dog into the more kind of semi-half domesticated, and that would have been through the Polynesians trading with us about 10 to 12,000 years. And then that's probably the big change in the dingo, right? That would definitely impact its genetics.
Yeah, and it says here, archaeological evidence. The oldest undisputed dingo fossil in Australia dates to approximately 3,250 years ago. So think about this, folks. And the reason that I'm bringing this up, and once again, thank you for being patient, Grooves. Are you there, Grooves? So here, the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you're thinking of a creature that can walk on its hind legs that looks like a canid, it's going to resemble something or somewhat of the population where it came from. But if it was a bloodline that came from the prisons that were, you know, of England, where they dumped all their prisoners there in Australia, it could look more like a werewolf, like a wolf. But if it is something native, what if it would be an aboriginal shape-shifting? Could it be possible that it would be somewhat dingo-like? Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the program.
I believe that there are face. I'll just say this one thing and then I'll go, because it's pretty much what Josh is going down. You can all just run with it. Is I believe that like these phase spiritual encounters can somewhat be linked to your ancestry and heritage, like the same thing how they say like fairies and alien abductions pretty much are the same language from different time periods, right? Mm-hmm. And they say that only true-born Irish can be haunted by a banshee. Like other people can't see them. And it's like when you talk about the migrants in America and the Germans and the French and the Lugaroo and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I think these things and these fairies might follow people's bloodlines and stuff. So I'll just leave it with that. And I'll jump
down. That's an interesting point. And if you look at the La Llorona, the bloodline, I believe, is purely Mexican. I mean, there are some people, some reports from Nicaragua and Venezuela, but for the most part, it is a Mexican thing. Just as I think the Chupacabra, the real Chupacabra, not the dog, the blue dog, which I think is something that was infected. This thing typically comes from Puerto Rico. I mean, a lot of people just don't really understand. They think that it's something that, you know, it looks like a dog or whatever. But I don't think those blue dogs are really, I don't think that those are Chupacabra. This is not that's my opinion. And I think if you follow the evidence to Puerto Rico, that's where it came from. I think it was the jumping off point. And from there, it went to Mexico via the narcos. And that's what I believe. And I've even done some research and followed that. And I'm going to pat myself on the back here. I don't give a shit. I'm the one that figured that out. I don't care who says they can lie. Now they're all over YouTube saying, yeah. Bullshit. The reason I figured that out is because I know people that did it. That's why. So, yeah. And Nick Redfern, when I work with him on that, you can ask him. I mean, like, I told him, I was the first person that told him that. I said, these things were brought to Mexico via the drug trade. Before that, there was no Chupacabra that looked anything like that. The only reports we had were in the Mayan jungle. Now, there may have been some creatures that looked like that, the Cocopelli, because the Mayans had that. They didn't go very far north, and they damn sure didn't reach up to Texas. What that thing was something that was trade that was done between the Caribbean Indians, the Caribs, and the Mayans. And I believe that that's where it came from. But I think that the ones that ended up in Texas and wherever, that have this reptilian with the scales and has the weird smell and all that, those things were brought by the narcos. 100%, I believe that. And they ended up in Cuba that way too. The Caribs may have brought them. Maybe they stowed away on their canoes or boats or whatever. But I don't know how that could be. I mean, without them seeing it or getting eaten by them. I do believe that they did genetic tampering, messing with these things in Puerto Rico. I do believe that. And they escaped into the wilderness. And they changed the wildlife around them because it's a form of vampirism. And now people will say that these Texas blue dogs, they don't drink blood. Bullshit. That is not true. They exsanguinate animals. And I believe, like I said before, I don't care what anybody says. I believe that they have an ability to exsanguinate. Look at their front teeth. They have that huge overbite. Why do you need that overbite like that with those giant fangs unless you're stinking a man and drinking blood?
I thought they had those tongues that were like straws.
They have these weird tongues too. And so that's a thing. But there are reports in Puerto Rico of these dog-like creatures that drink the blood of chickens and goats and do the same thing. Because I believe that vampire gene, it's not a gene, it's a virus. It's like the black goo is what it is. Mm-hmm. And it infected these canines. And I think that and I'm going to do a show. I've got reports from Dominican Republic and from Puerto Rico of vampire dogman. I'm not even joking. This is something I've been following and studying for about 2 years now. I don't have a ton of reports yet, but I'm hoping that I keep jumping around on these groups. I'll find them. I've tracked down 3 so far, 1 in Dominican Republic and 2 in Puerto Rico that I can absolutely say 100% that is what that is. And I do believe that it was spread via the Chupacabra that they were using in these DUMBs. They have these facilities. And the Puerto Ricans will tell you they abandoned them. And a bunch of monkeys got loose. Those aren't monkeys. Those were those Chupacabra. I'm telling you. It's something that I talked in depth with Nick Redfern about. And then, he said, well, how would they get, because there was a lady that saw one when she went down into the Mayan ruins, and I sent her as a witness. And she told him, she's like, well, I'm sure he interviewed her. I don't know what she told him exactly word for word because I wasn't part of the conversation. But what she told me, she said she told him. And I sent him that. I sent him the transcript that she had told me, and then he interviewed her. She literally said that when she was down there vacationing, now she's from Costa Rica, but her husband is American. They went down into the jungle and they came across one of these little creatures. The locals told them that they were brought over by narcos. But oddly enough, in the Popol Vuh, they have these stories. The Mayans have these stories of these little creatures. They call them Cocopelli. And the archaeologists believe that little thing that was sticking out, that was a flute. It wasn't playing a flute. That's its tongue. And it's stabbing things. The best thing I could come up with is, this is what I believe. I don't think this thing stowed away on a boat way back when. I think it was introduced to the Mayans by the Carib Indians. I think this thing was a naturally occurring creature. Not naturally occurring because I believe that it was from the inner earth. And I believe that they took the Caribs, when they went to trade and they met up with the Mayans, both cannibalistic cultures. You have to be very careful, right? So they brought them gifts. And I believe that they brought the Cocopelli to the Mayans as a gift. And the Mayans were not all one distinct empire. They each had city-states, kind of like the Greeks. They got along with each other to a degree, but they would fight each other too. The Aztecs were very different. Once they incorporated you into their empire, you were part of the Aztec empire, and you were all answering to one guy, right? Whether it was Cuauhtémoc or Montezuma. The Mayans, though, each had little war chiefs in each one of their cities. Their cities were spread out throughout the jungle, throughout Belize, Guatemala, and southern Mexico. These things ended up there, I believe, as part of the pets for like maybe a zoo or whatever that these ancient Mayans had. In particular, one city that was on the coast called Zuna, which is no longer in existence. It was wiped out. But the ruins are there, but they don't really have the names or, whatever. And that particular city, I believe, is where the population was really strong right there. They are said to eat iguana and rabbits and all kinds of different small things that they find exsanguinated. I think this. I think that what we're dealing with, though, is that this creature was became vampirized. Like it was something happened to it. Much like the reptilian, the vril drakes. There's the drakes and then there's the vril drakes. And that's a whole thing. And people don't understand. They'll be like, well, I'm confused. It is confusing unless you bury yourself into the knowledge of this. You're not going to know what I'm talking about. But there are people out there who do follow. They know what I'm saying. But it's very, very deep. It goes deep. Now, I believe that was first wave. Maybe way back there was other trade before the civilizations that we know. They're probably called something else. This wave that we're dealing with now in the modern time, centuries later, I believe these things, they are these genetically modified ones that are way, way worse. Way worse. And if they get loose, they do all kinds of hell. And I believe that these things were brought here by the narcos. I do. I think that they were, the Puerto Ricans sold them to some different people in different countries. And then when the dropping off point in Cuba, and they probably said, hey, man, you want to buy one of these things, man? And those narcos were like, how much? And they got all the money in the world. And then they bought them and took them back to Mexico or to Colombia. I mean, it was said that Escobar had them too.
Wait, do the voice again.
Hey, man, I'm headed to Miami, man. What are you going to do, man? And the Puerto Rican's like, no, man, you're going to give me the money for this or what? What are you going to do, man? And the Mexican comes and he says, you know, I buy it from you. You better pay me with the cocaine. And I paid you for that, with the feria. And then they bring it up here. And then the Texan's like, hey, man, this is awesome. Now we got some shit that's going to drink the blood of our animals. Why the hell do we want this?
Yeah.
Got loose, or do you think set free?
I think they was a little bit of both.
Yeah,
right?
For real.
So, Jennifer, thank you for being patient. Hang on one second. I want to say hello. And what is it? Your name, Jennifer? How do you say your name? I don't want to mess it up. Jennifer, are you there?
Silent Jen.
I'm here. I think PRT is the greatest show ever. It's even better than Dynasty or Dallas. Yeah, me too. I really do. I think it's an awesome show. I'm glad we have it. I even like it better than All My Children. And I'm not just doing that because you're a female. Yes, I am. I'm joking. I'm kidding. Not all women watch soap operas. Okay.
Can you hear me?
If they can't watch soap operas, they'll make a soap opera. What's up, Jennifer? I was just telling Dick and King to stop talking bad about people.
Talking bad about me?
Yeah, they're making fun of you, saying you all watch soap operas.
I got a problem with you. I'm a New York City girl. Come on. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, get it.
So you're from New York City?
And no, I grew up in Yonkers.
Yonkers. Well, whatever.
The outer borough.
I mean, I know it's not New York, but it's close enough. I was 5 minutes from the Bronx.
Yeah. So, but that hard assness don't get to you by osmosis. You have to actually be in it to get.
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm not a hard ass. Trust me, by any means.
Well, you're turned sideways. I know that. What is going on with your?
I'm trying to figure it out. I had to go in and log into my Google account so you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry if I'm turned sideways.
Okay, so be patient for a second, Grooves, and we're gonna see. You got something to tell us, Grooves. You were here before Jennifer, but she's a female, she's a lady, so I figured I'd let her talk first. But Grooves, what do you want to tell us?
Man, look here. I had another story the other night. I guess that was damn near 6 weeks ago now, and I meant to copy down your email so I can hit you because you said give you a holler and I didn't, so that's my bad.
You're slacking.
I was high. Shit.
You're supposed to admit to that. You're supposed to admit to that. You're just going to say, hey, things happen,
Yeah, me and Dan Patrick were smoking a fat one.
Oh my gosh. So, but not for 6 whole weeks. You just blazed for 6 weeks.
No, I had some
like
other
2
stuff.
brain cells left.
Man, look here. Hey, I also my Miller Lite too.
Oh God, that's headache beer, bro.
I love it.
The headache beer. That's bad.
Well, Steel Reserve only on the weekends.
Oh God, Steel Reserve, dude. Woo-hoo. You're drinking the bottom of the barrel, bro. When do you drink the Bush Light?
Well, give me a natty daddy every now and again.
You just going for the Pabst Blue Ribbon. When is it?
I'm old school. Old
King
school
Cobra.
Texas boy.
You know why you drink light beer, right?
Why?
So you can drink more of them.
That's what I do.
Though, some people drink light beer and it actually gets them, they get where they need to be. I mean, I don't drink at all anymore. So I'm sure one light beer would probably send me where I needed to be, but I don't drink. But I used to drink a lot, and then I'd be like literally having like liver pain. I'm not even joking. Like being like, because you just drinking and drinking and drinking. I drank all the way through my 20s.
Yeah, I go through my stages of, drinking. And then I stopped for a while, and you know how it is. I just got to be careful with it, though, because just like you being a bouncer and security around bars and clubs and stuff, it's so easy to just get lost in that sauce, man.
Yeah, that's true. So what happened? What did you what befell you?
All right. Well, this is another Texas story. So this happened. I was trying to remember what the name of this park was because I don't live in that part of North Texas anymore. I still live in North Texas, but a different part now. I was living in Arlington. Arlington at the time had over 85 parks. Probably got like damn near 100 now. People don't know if they ain't been up here. Arlington's big as hell, man.
It is. It's right in between Fort Worth and Dallas. You drive from one city right into the next.
It's big. Like it's bigger than I thought it was. Matter of fact, there was a dude used to go to another park who worked for the Alex Jones show because he used to have the little van wrapped up, and he was always riding through that park. And that's on YouTube. There's videos of that, like bobcats facing off, shouting at each other at that park. But this was at a park on the other side of town. Name of this park was actually Stovall Park. I used to drive over here sometime, pretty much just to get away from my area because my area was getting kind of shitty, There was a little well, yeah, I mean, there was a little war going on over the Method Man, Wu-Tang Clan. A couple of some of those big groups had just gotten released. A couple of heads of them, and they were fighting it out. Nothing to do with the people that look like me. You know what people I'm talking about.
Yeah, in that area too, right there where the ballpark is. That area where all the hotels and all that.
I wasn't too far from there. Yeah,
trashy area, dude. That used to be the mall, the Six Flags Mall.
So many bikers hang out over there. And that's what it was. It was a beef between two big biker groups, and it was serious. Just that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I grew up around all that. Like it was getting old. So when I would go to the park to get away from that kind of stuff, I would go to the other side of town. Like nicer areas with its big houses and shit. So anyway, hey man, come on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Shiza. So I went over to this park. I went to go pray for my pops. My old man had a couple of different kinds of cancer, and his doctor said that maybe he could get better, maybe he wouldn't. So I'm a praying man. I love the Lord Jesus Christ. So I went over there to go pray, and I also went late at night to be by myself. So I took my two. I guess at the time, what I have. Yeah, I guess I did. I just got them. I had my XL American Bullies, two big, huge dogs. And I took them with me, and there really wasn't nobody at the park. But this was a real, real nice park. So the only person looking thuggish up there was probably me. So anyway, I'm up there chilling with the dogs. And
a big brother with two pit bulls. Yeah, you don't look. You're just chilling. Yeah, okay.
Like if you see another black guy up there, he's like Carlton Banks here. You know what I'm saying? It was them type of dudes. So I didn't.
You're up there making people nervous. I mean, not me, but normal people might be kind of nervous. Like
there wasn't people that look like you either. Not you. No.
Well, probably not.
We would have stood out.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I went over there. I just wanted to go say a prayer for my dad real quick, trying to hope that the Most High would heal him and he would do better. So as I'm praying, and I was praying real hard and praying loud, and this was the weirdest thing I ever seen. And I wrote this down the other day because I'm supposed to be doing this for another guy, but I wanted to make sure I did it here first because I promised you I've been bullshitting and talking to you been over a year now, and we haven't been able to get to it. But you know what I'm saying? As I was praying, I saw something, and it looked like a jungle cat. Now I know you always hear, you live in Texas. Everybody says they see big jungle cats all the damn time. I know you hear about it.
They do. Yeah.
So I'm looking. My dad, he even said he saw one before. He used to drive buses back down in H-Town. So I'm looking around. I'm at the park in Arlington. I'm seeing it, and I'm tripping because you know what I'm saying. And it was far away, but I was looking. My dogs, they were looking at something else. I don't know if it was somebody else had a dog or something else, but there was barely anybody over. They were looking to the other side, and I could see way across. And I'm looking like, oh, that ain't no damn house cat. And we got bobcats over there, but this thing had a long tail. So what the hell is that? And I'm looking at it. I was like, damn. So it was, I bullshit you not. I want to say it looked a lot like some kind of demonic looking tiger. It kind of looked like a tiger, but of course it wasn't that big. It was like probably like a little bit less than half the size of a full grown big tiger, male tiger. So it was pretty big. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's supposed to be roaming around no damn park in Arlington around, nice houses and shit. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn. And mind you, I was praying. So I looked at that thing and I don't know why I looked at it. I got mad. It was weird. Like, why would I get mad looking at that thing? You know what I'm saying? It's some weird looking shit. That's why I always keep my blade in my pocket. If any dude or two dudes run up on me, I'll give them a fair one. We can do that. I keep my blade for the four-legged and whatever else is out there. So, I'm looking and I'm just like, what the hell? I don't know why I was angry, but again, I was just praying and I was praying hard. I was praying for my dad. So this thing was like going and rummaging through, those big industrial Rubbermaid garbage cans they have at parks and recreational places. All right, he was knocking them over. And I'll tell you why I said he in a minute. So he was knocking them over and going in there, like digging out trash and fast food papers and stuff out of there. So I'm looking like, what the hell is this thing doing? So as I'm looking at it, and then the thing, I bullshit you not, it stood up, and like I blinked and it turned into a man.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be honest with you, this is the second time in my life I have ever told this story because it sounds so ridiculous. But about a week or so ago, I heard on some other video from maybe a year ago on some little small channel, somebody was saying something similar in a whole nother country or somewhere. So I was like, damn, I know I'm not crazy, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of wild. And it looked like a regular dude. And something I didn't realize until I wrote this down was a couple of days ago is the clothes. Dude had on a polo shirt and he had on some black jeans and looked like some black and like gold looking like Nike Air Max, some kind of, I don't know, not really Air Max because there wasn't a bubble, but it was those like expensive looking Nikes, like Kyrie Irving's or LeBron's or something like that. So I'm looking and he had a polo shirt. He had a fresh haircut with like a little design, almost like a Z, but it almost looked like that stuff you see on those old movies, the angelic script where they show the Catholic writings and stuff like the names of the angels. It was something like that he had in the middle of his head, like how people used to get a part cut in their head in the 90s, the Kid and Play days.
Oh, yeah, I remember Kid and Play.
But his eyes, you know how people look when they're like real drunk or like some kind of, dope fiend or something. That's how his eyes looked. And I'm looking at him. And now my dogs are real friendly. People love them. They pet him at different parks we go to. But for some reason, they were barking at him because they didn't see him until it turned into whatever a regular looking. He was a skinny looking, probably 5'10", just dark brown skinned dude with a like a bald fade or a regular haircut. And I'm looking at, and his eyes though, they just looked piss yellow. Like
jaundice.
Yes. That's about the best way I can, but it wasn't as much as he looked like a normal person, his eyes didn't look natural. They were almost a little bit too glossy, and it was like they were yellow, but there was almost like black beads in his eyes, in the eyeball, like some kind of a snake or something, or a reptile. So anyway, he just started staring at me, and his eyes got big all of a sudden. And I used to wear a big, huge gold cross. I don't know if I'm wearing this picture, but I had a huge, long, hanging gold cross with diamonds, whatever. And he started looking at it. So as he started looking at it, he started acting like he was getting scared. Now he looked at the dogs, and he seemed like they were agitating him, but he wasn't as worried about them as he was about me. And like I said, I was just praying. So I don't know what it was he was seeing around me, because, I know I was always taught when I was little, when you pray in Jesus' name, like so many angels will come around you and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So whatever was going on, he was getting agitated. And I know if it hadn't been for him staring at my cross, I would have thought it was just some kind of weird creature. But I know it was demonic, whatever it was. Because back then, I was still kind of on the fence about what was what. Was it an alien? Was it some kind of hybrid creature? Was it a government experiment or what? This thing was demonic. So he's staring and he was looking, at my cross, and he was just looking, and he started, backing away. And I'm just looking at this dude, and I started walking up on him like, man, what the hell? Because I'm looking at him, and it's like, I'm knowing this was the cat, but I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm still kind of looking to see, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe there's another one or something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know. Your brain has trouble processing stuff like that. But that's what it was, man. And he, as we approached him and started going towards him, because I'm the type, I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to run to it. I don't want to get, hit in the back with whatever. So, I walked up on him, and we were moving kind of fast. My dogs were damn near pulling me. One of them's like 110. The other female's 90 pounds. So, I'm struggling to hold them because they were really trying to get at him. And that's also how I knew this was not a person. They never act like that with people. They only act like that with like coyotes and bobcats and cats and stuff, squirrels. So as we were getting over there and going that way, he was staring at me, and he would again he would glance at the dogs, but then he would stare at my chest, at my cross, and he started backing up by like the picnic tables under the pavilion. And if you can Google and look at that park, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about where I was. So he starts backing up. So as we get closer, he turned around and looked like he just kind of took off. And as we got close to the open field where he was, that was leading back to the street, which is sublet, he was gone. Like where we went right back where he was supposed to be, he was gone. We went up to the street. He wasn't there. It was almost like he just disappeared. So I don't know what happened. And I, was looking around, and I just hollered, "Thank you, Jesus," real loud. And then I heard some kind of scream, some kind of holler. Almost like, what's that movie, Clash of the Titans, when Hades showed up in the throne room of, what was that? What was it? I guess Argos, remember?
On which, the original, or are you talking about
the remake, the 2010, the one with
I don't remember the remake too well.
Well, yeah, it was just like some weird kind of sound. And I thought this thing was gone. I was just thinking, Jesus, I was still alive. Because if this thing's some damn demon, I don't know. I can deal with people and bobcats and coyotes, but I don't know how to, actually, I'm not Blade, I'm not the Ghostbusters. I'm saying I was so anyway, I was just thanking God I was still in one piece, that he helped me through that. And when I said that, and I said it loud, and I thought this thing was gone, I heard from off in the distance, kind of like up in front of the park and down the street further on Sublet, going to the right, going towards, I guess that's Green Oaks up there, whatever. Whatever made just a holler, almost like the noise the vampires make when you destroy them on some of those old Van Helsing or monster movie. It was weird, bro. But after that, I went ahead and got my water and gave the dog some water, and we just kind of got out of there, and that was the end of that for that night. But, it's just one of those things you kind of think about. And what I didn't realize until yesterday or whatever, day before yesterday, when I wrote it down, his polo shirt was the exact same stripe pattern that his fur was when he was in cat form.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
I did not think about that.
Interesting story. The Okami says, not to be weird or racist, which I don't think you're being weird or racist, Okami, but he says, but tiger shapeshifters Texas has one of the biggest populations of Indians in the world from India. Yeah. And they're going to bring whatever it is that they do over. I was talking to someone the other day from Nigeria, and I work out with this guy sometimes. I'm like sometimes he's there, and he escaped the Fulani. They were killing the Christians over there, and so he was a refugee. But he's not one of those that came over here and just laid down on the system. No, he's actually done something with himself. He's been there for 27 years, and he's made good with his wife as a nurse, and he's a pharmacist. He's done real well. And he's a really cool guy. And so we started talking one day, and he was talking about where he's from, people shape-shifting into, like animals that are from there. Witch doctors using magic to become zebras and to become, hyenas or these wild dogs or lions.
Now, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I did not even think about that until you just said that. He could have been African.
I mean, you don't know.
He was
but tiger though. Tiger's not in Africa, so that who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I'll put it like this: he could have either been, one of those dark Indians. The hair texture though was more like some kind of Afro type person. Mm-hmm. So it was, kind of like but it was real low cuts. I don't know. He, what? He could have been from northern India or I don't know. It was weird. He never said
probably be southern India would be. And where the tigers are, we did the show about the tiger attacks in India, and a lot of people didn't watch it because they thought it was just about tigers. No, these aren't about tigers. These are about shape-shifting tigers. What they are. Yep. The Sundarban is a really rough place when it comes to that. But I can tell you, I'm going to say hi to BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, who was in the chat. Hey, what's going on? But there's a lot of different stories that go in that direction. Now, I know that people have seen a lot of tigers near the Oklahoma-Texas border because we know that a bunch of them were running around loose up there. I know I got a story out of Paul's Valley. The guy was literally at a diner that I was at in Paul's Valley. Cool place. And I was doing a little investigating while I was there, and this guy had given me a story. So when we were there, I decided to drive around and try to find the house where this supposedly happened. We were in the diner. The one guy, it was real friendly people. It was like an old 50s diner. We were sitting there, and there was this black dude that was talking to me across from me, and he was just telling me this crazy story. He says, dude, because I had the Paranormal Roundtable, whatever shirt. And he said, there's a lot of, not Paranormal Roundtable, God, what show was that? The Bix show, Dogman Encounters. I had the Dogman Encounters shirt. The guy tells me, he says, he goes, there's a lot of stories of these kind of things, in this area. And I said, yeah, because I was asking questions, to the guy that was behind the counter. And that kid said, he goes, I've heard a lot of different stuff, he goes, but we've seen tigers around here running around loose. So maybe that's what it was. And then the black guy was sitting across from me. He says, no. He goes, I know the house where you're talking about. He goes, if you go down, there's a gun store, and you go and he was telling me where it was at, right? I drove down there, drove by it. I didn't go into the house, but that's a story that I'd gotten from somebody that was in that house that had left because that something tried to break into the house. And the guy said when he looked outside to see what it was, this guy had slept in it because he was homeless at that time. He wasn't really homeless. He was a teenager, and he was arguing with his parents. He sees this, 7 foot tall werewolf looking creature. It was interesting when I interviewed the guy because he told me, he says, and he's half native, right? But he told me, he says, the first thing I thought was it was a tiger. And, it kind of hit me sideways when I was interviewing the kid. And I said, well, he's not a kid, but he's like, he's a kid to me. He's like 26. I said, what do you mean a tiger? He goes, well, there have been tigers, running around loose in this area. And I didn't realize how close we were to all that, Tiger King and all that other stuff. And talking with Tex, he was telling me that area in Brown Springs where him and this other guy used to go investigate quite a bit, that they heard tigers roaring out there. And I said, you probably did because those are probably, he said, yeah, there's loose tigers. So it's kind of interesting that when he kind of segued into the tiger thing, and I told him, I said, well, there have been people who've claimed to have seen shape-shifting tigers. And he says, oh, I know. He says, because people, and of course he's half native, right? But he said, he goes, my grandfather told me that people can shapeshift into whatever they try to, as long as they do the ritual correctly. And he said, and it scared the hell out of me because I saw this, which he called it a skinwalker, but he said it looked like a skinwalker type creature that was standing there. Never called it a dogman. And the word Dogman didn't come up other than the shirt that I was wearing that day. It was Dogman. It was the shirt that I had gotten from the show. And I said, this is, I'm trying to get some stories here, because I'm going to go back on this guy's show and I want to talk about him. Then never got to finish that one, to get that one wrapped up. The guy had joined the military. And then in 2020, I think, or 21, he got back in touch with me, and then we told it on the show. But it was a long time coming. What's crazy though about that was, just like I said, the first thing he alluded to was it being a tiger. And I thought that was weird. Right there in the middle of Oklahoma, you don't go, well, yeah, I'm going to get attacked by a tiger, but the possibility is there.
I mean, I've never heard anything like that before. A tiger. That's why I say I'm almost a little embarrassed telling that.
No, dude, go listen to the episode. See?
Wow.
See, Grooves, I can tell you've been slacking. You see, I can tell. I know you have, because you didn't watch the show, the demonic tiger attacks of India. See, and if you would have, you'd know two things about that. You would not eat at Tim Hortons. And then
I got a Tim Hortons mug right here.
Tim Hortons.
Dude, the video is just gross, Dick. That is so nasty, dude.
I've had some other stuff going, some family stuff. I didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, my mom had COVID. My brother is moving. He's moving from, I guess, near like Round Rock to Central Austin now. So,
why is he moving down where the homeless people are?
Because he's stupid. But that's I ain't gonna go. I'll holler at you offline.
I'm not even gonna go visit.
Don't even. Hey,
yeah, you gotta have a gat. Like I've said before on the show, we got bats with gats down here. They got the bats. Like, look, we're gonna see the bats.
He's one of those we are the world people. He thinks like it won't happen to me if I just sing Kumbaya and say, "Hey, dude,
yeah, right." It's all good, right? It's all good.
That's why I told him. I just said, "Good luck." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, that's all you can do. You what can you do? I mean, I got relatives like that too. I get, they just don't. I got a couple. I got one of them. He's my dad's side, they're just pure cowboy. All of them are just a bunch of cowboys. But there's one of them. He drives a truck and delivers, and he's just, well, people are people. I'm like, yeah, they're not. No, it's not, bro. No, it's not, bro. I was like, you need to look at yourself. And he thinks that I'm paranoid or whatever. I said, dude, I run crime stats all the time. I give them to my clients. That's how I get people to sign up. I'm like, you want to see all the crime in your area? Boom, here it is. I know exactly what's happening.
No, people who haven't really done security or haven't actually, worked with law enforcement or really been in the streets or, come from a military background, friends, family, whatever, you're not going to know. Like my dad used to say, some people don't believe fat meat is greasy. You know what I'm saying? Some people they don't believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't. They're just lost, blind.
I mean, you just watch the news. I mean, Texas, come on, man. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on the past couple of years,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, here we go. Werner Muller says there are actually people native to India that also look African. They're related to people who live in Papua. Yeah, Papua New Guinea.
Thank you.
That's the truth. Yeah, and so you may have run into somebody like that. Now, here's an interesting story. I'll throw one in here, and then thank you so much, Jennifer, for being patient. I'm going to throw one in here. But before I do, Jennifer, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Do I have time to throw in a quick story, or do you want me to wait till after you do yours? Are you in?
No, go ahead. It's your show. I'm here listening.
No, but it's my show. But respect to the guests, I want you guys to be y'all are the guests. So,
I got to take off, bro. I was just saying thanks for having me once again.
Okay, I'll see you, groups. We'll talk again.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, peace out, Mr. Dick. Yeah,
God bless you, bro.
See you.
Okay, right. Peace out.
So here's the thing on the topic of what Grooves was talking about. Here's a weird story. I was working with this guy named Frankie. His last name is it's not important. We'll just call him Frankie G. And he was working at one of these job sites I worked at years ago. And so I ran into him again. Probably about we were ending that site about June. It was in June. And I ran into him when I went there with Anthony to go check on something at one of the sites. And we had to talk to the supervisor there. No, it was May. It doesn't matter. Anyways, a few months ago, I ran into him. And I remember a story that he told me one time. And this is not, no real long drawn out thing, but he was working near the Hancock Center here in Austin. If you don't know where that's at, just look it up. It's right off of 35. And they were doing a remodel of this woman's house because he worked for this contractor. And so he was at one of our job sites. And I've run into Frankie over the years. I met him, I think, back in like 2013 or 14, when they were tearing down a huge building at this place, I kid you not. And I've talked about it on the show with Eric Palacios. It was Chris Garitano. It's at the La Frontera. And that hill right there, right over the next hill, is where the Chainsaw Massacre house originally was. Now it's in Kingsland, and I've been there, to visit it. But I played in that house when I was a kid, right? And you can just look over and see where it used to be. But it's all grown up now. It's all big. There weren't even all these highways there. There was 35 it wasn't nothing. It was just a little whatever. And that was it. That was the closest highway. And then back up in there was all the woods and all that. And that spot, they were tearing it down, and it was reputed to be haunted, that place. There was, it's funny, they were talking about Indian people. There was an Indian guy that had bought it, and he was standing there talking to me, and we kind of hit it off because I knew he was from Bangalore, and I knew a little bit about his culture. So we started talking, and he liked me. And so he says, you know what, I was just going to use you guys for a couple of weeks, but this contract, I was going to rebid on it. If you guys want it, just take it, because I'm going to be here for about 4 or 5 months. I said, okay. So we took it. And so me and him started talking, and that was cool. Surprisingly, he just said, you know what, I'm not even going to rebid. I'm just going to let you guys take it. And he did. He didn't have time to mess with it. And we did a good job for him, I think. But there was a guy that came in. He was a contractor, and that was Frankie. And we started talking. And we got on the subject of tigers in India, and we were talking about, because he goes, I heard you guys talking about India and tigers and all this stuff. And I said, yeah, because one of my friends at that time had a tiger. He owned one out near Marble Falls. And when it was a cub, it knew me. When it got older, it didn't know me. And he was like, well, he'll remember you. I said, no, I'm not going over there. And if he's running around, if Tigger, he's called him Tigger. I said, if Tigger's running around, he's just going to come up and be all playful and jump on me. I'm not taking that chance. I said, put him away, when I get there. And I'm going to wear my firearm. He's like, well, you don't need to do all that. He's not going to do nothing, whatever. So anyway, we were talking about that and the subject of tigers and all this stuff. And he comes up to me and he says, man, I got a weird story, man, I could tell you. He goes, it was about tigers. At least I think it was a tiger. I don't know for sure. And then we never hooked back up about it. And then about 4 or 5 years later, he was working at this other job site out near Manor. And my brother was doing that site. And he comes up to me, and I see him, and he starts talking to me, and we hit it off before, So I had dealt with him a few times. And then one day it just came up. And I said, hey, you were going to tell me a weird story about a tiger. Is it about a tiger? Was it? He goes, well, it wasn't really a tiger. I don't know what it was. And then once again, it ended up, we didn't talk about it. Something happened, and one of the foremen came up and said, hey, I need the security over here, blah, 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 because somebody had broke something. So we had to take an inventory of it. And then we hooked up again years later at this other site, and I saw him again. And so finally I talked to him like back in May, and I said, hey, I'm putting together a show about tigers. I'd like for you to tell me that story. And this is years in the making, right? But this is how it goes. And then he tells me, but I didn't use this story. I went in a different direction. It was all about India. But he told me a story, and I've wanted to tell it for a long time. And this is what it was. He was working at this house over there by the Hancock Center. Back up in there, they were doing a remodel. He said it was like 2010. And he said that him and a couple of his guys, because he owns his own remodel company, but he also subs for all these different people, this other big company. And he said that we were working there. And he goes, and they had sent me a couple of guys, and they didn't speak no English. He goes, and luckily I speak Spanish, but not fluent, And he goes, they were telling me, gato, and they were scared. They were acting like there was something wrong with the house. And so they were telling him that it was a fantasmo gato, like a ghost cat. It was like ghost cat. So he goes in there, he goes, and I don't hear anything, I don't see anything, but I was working late with the carpet guys. They were coming in, they were installing it. He goes, and they were outside by their truck, and one of them had said, hey, I'm going to run up to the Wendy's right here. I'm going to get something to eat. So they leave. Well, he thought that there was another guy there, but both of the guys left. and he hears somebody like talking like in a low guttural voice, and he thinks, well, that guy's got a really deep voice. He goes outside. He's like, and then I'm outside and I walk by the window and I see this shadow move inside the house. He goes, and this is the first time I saw it. I saw the shadow of a cat. He's like, and it was big, it was large, it was like the size of a lion or a tiger. He goes, and I was like, holy crap. He goes, and so I freak out and I go get my cuerta, my gun, my pistol, you know. And he goes, and I'm walking to the house and I'm like this, you know, I'm like, what, you know, and he's like literally sweeping the house thinking that there's this big black cat in there. And then he doesn't see anything. Then the next day he's working and they're doing the sheetrock guys are finishing up, and all of them hear this like noise coming from the next room, and it scared everybody so bad they all ran out of the house. He's like, finally I got one of the guys to go back in with me. He's got, at that point I had my stepson with me, so we all went in there. We didn't see anything. And then he said that house, he said that when they started tearing up there was a bunch of stuff in the backyard and all this stuff. Get this, they unearthed the skeleton of a like a skull, like a big, like the top of a skull. Then there was pieces of it. It was all like it had been messed up or something had messed it up. And it was at the foot of a tree, and it was a giant skeleton. And he said that they called the police, they called the authorities, all these people, and they took it. And about 2 months later, he finds out that was the skull of a tiger. That was literally a tiger that had been buried in that backyard. How in the hell that thing was buried there, or who put it there? It wasn't a complete skeleton. It was just parts of it, you know, and it looked like it had been dug up. It wasn't real shallow. I mean, it wasn't real deep. It was shallow. So that was his story he gave me of this partially buried tiger, you know, very weird story. And you're sitting there going like, how in the hell does that even happen? Like, you know, just, it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. But I'll give you another one. In that same area, there's an elementary school down the road, not too far from there. And there's like this one road that goes by. On one side, there's elementary. On the other side, there's a railroad track. This guy told me years ago, and he was my friend Daniel Robles that I saw the Dogman with. His cousin told me this story. He said we were talking about weird stuff and all this. He told me this about, you know, probably 10 years ago. And he said, man, one time I was riding my bike through there, and this woman who was walking down the road, she looked like she was a homeless woman. And he says, and I was dating this girl, and he goes, her car was in the shop and she was hungry. And so there was a place right up the road. It used to be called Stallion Grill. I don't know what it was called back then. And he goes, they had these burgers or whatever. So I said, well, let me use your bike and I'll ride up there and I'll get us some food. And so he was riding his bike. He said it was about 9 o'clock at night and he wanted to get there, you know, to the place. But there was like always like a lot of traffic going through there, and he didn't feel real comfortable on the bike. And he says, so at one point he goes, I almost got hit. So he goes, I just got off the bike because I was kind of scared I was going to get to where the intersection was. So I started walking it, and I walked by this woman. He goes, and she looked so freaking weird. She looked so creepy. He's like, and then when she got close to me, I said, good evening. And she just went like that. And he said, dude, he dropped the bike and ran across the road and fell into some Johnson grass. And he looked up and he said that for a split second, Wolf, he goes, that woman's face turned into like a cat. Now, that is not even a quarter mile probably from where that other house was where Frankie said that tiger was buried. Tell me that's not a coincidence. That's a weird thing, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, a lot of weird stuff. And so I told this guy, his name's Miguel, I said, you know, what did you do? I'm sorry, Adrian. I said, Adrian, what did you do? And he said, I just got up and I got the bike and I got on it and started riding it, you know. He goes, and I looked back, I didn't see her. I don't know where she went. She was carrying a bag, like, you know, like from the convenience store. And he said, man, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I got back and I told my girlfriend about it, and she didn't know anything about it. She just thought, wow, that's crazy. And that was it. As far as I know, she didn't live in a haunted house or anything, but it would have been about one street over and a couple of blocks from that other house. So that, you know, so there's something weird there. You know, who the hell buries a tiger in the backyard? I don't know.
Witchcraft.
You know?
It's witchcraft.
Witchcraft, yeah, maybe. I mean, you know,
especially when you bury them by the tree.
Yeah, at the base of an oak tree. Yeah. And Frankie told me that. He said, you know, it was just like they got back with him, you know, the owner that bought the house, got the report back and said, hey, this is what happened. And they told Frankie about it. He was like, dude, that's so weird. he never went and talked to those people again, and never didn't, know whether or not the haunting continued or whatever. But he said there was definitely some sort of haunting that went on there. Now, across the road and about 2 or 3 blocks up the road from there is a place where I used to have a security post, and it was for the Head Start program. And I had that post for years and years. I mean, probably a decade, I think a dozen years we had that site. And I had weird people tell me weird stories about that place all the time. And that's the place where I saw that weird thing that looked like a cat floating with no legs. But it wasn't as in close proximity to that as that other, the sighting that this guy Adrian had. But it was probably 3/4 of a mile, maybe. So in the same area, right? Maybe not even 3/4 of a mile. But anyway, it's close. It was close. And I never thought anything of it, until I just, started putting 2 and 2 together. And it really started to hit me when we did the tiger episode. That's when it started to kind of, the gears turned. And I told Anthony, I said, this is weird. I told him and Tony, I said, this is a weird thing here. Look at this, that you could look at a map of the sin. And I did. I pulled up the aerial view of the map and I looked at it and I said, you get right over here. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's a weird thing, right? But Jennifer, what do you got for us?
Hello.
Hey.
Well,
you gonna show us yourself, or just the top of your head?
Hi.
Because you were kind of like Wilson.
I know it's the angle that I have my phone sitting on my laptop. So a couple of things. Being you're on the topic of tigers, I'm a vivid dreamer, and the other night I had a really wild dream. I remember a lot of them. I really should journal my dreams to see if anything ever comes out of it, anything prophetic. But my mother has battled a lot of just mental health issues and drug use. And I had a dream the other night that speaking of tigers, that I was being attacked by a black panther and she was being attacked by a tiger. And when you're in your dreams, people speak to you, but you don't know who they are, right? So this is what was happening in the dream. So I went to visit my mom and I went in her bedroom and I'm like, oh, I've never been in your bedroom before. It's huge. It's nice. It's, it almost had like ancient Chinese decor in it, which I thought was really weird. And she's laying in her bed, and then all of a sudden, through the window comes a tiger and a black panther. And the tiger starts to attack my mother, and the black panther attacks me. And I hear the voices saying, grab the knives, they're over in the drawer over there. And I said, and I wound up getting myself away from the attack, grabbed the knife, and I slit the neck of the black panther, and it kind of deflated, and this white smoke came out of it. And the tiger continued the attack on my mother, and I just stood there, and I could have helped her, but I didn't, because I didn't want to. I don't know why. That was weird. I don't know if it was just resentment for her or what, but I felt like it was her own battle she needed to fight, and she didn't want to fight it, and she kind of surrendered to the attack. So that's that story.
Wow.
Yes.
That's scary.
Yeah. No, I
an animal. I said getting attacked. I had a dream. I've had 2 or 3 dreams where I got chased by this pair of lions. There were 2 of them every time, and one of them, the dream, I was running through a field. It's now like a pavilion. They built something there in my hometown, and it was years ago. And I was running, and these 2 lions were just about to get me. And one of them, I could see it kind of like from a distance. I was watching myself run, and then I would be running, and then I could see myself. And this one, he was lifting up his paw, just about to clip me, and hamstring me to get my Achilles, whatever. And I just started flying. I just floated up, and I could look down, and I could see them jumping for me, and they couldn't get me. And there was another one I had where I was running up these steps that were kind of like, you ever play the game Cubert from Atari? And I was jumping from spot to spot to spot, and these lions were jumping, and one of them fell off, and then another one just kept, like, when he saw the other one fall off, he recommitted himself to trying to get me. I finally got to the top and I jumped up there again, and all this loud music started playing, and it was bizarre. And then he freaked out, covered his ears, and fell backwards. I don't know what it means, but I've had like 3 of them.
Really? Yeah, there's pretty scary when you're being chased by something that, you feel it's just gonna devour you. It's the scariest feeling ever. But it seems like in your dreams you have more. I mean, obviously in the flesh and in reality, a lion, a tiger's gonna kill us, no doubt. But in your dreams, it's more of a spiritual thing. Like you can kind of almost like you have control over what happens in a sense. Like with you were saved. It was like it just swiped you and you just missed it, or the lion fell off, the bounty thing that you said.
I was jumping on this little pillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was another one I had. The other one I can remember. I know I've had probably more, but I ran across this creek, and then I ran up the embankment, and then I was running to a truck. And it was not my truck. It was some truck I didn't even know. And I was in a pasture, and I had a rifle in the truck, but I had to use the keys to open the door. And so I'm fumbling trying to do it, and then I'm like, oh crap! And because and that was always the movies, right? That there's always somebody trying to fumble to get into. Now we just go beep beep, But in the 80s and 90s, folks, it was the struggle was real. Something monster was chasing you. You'd die because you couldn't, or the killer.
Oh yeah, and then in your dreams, you get in the car and you try to go fast, and the car's not going anywhere.
You can't do it.
To hit the brakes.
Pain in the ass, and so I'm running around the other side, and I'm like, I gotta get into the truck. And here comes this big lion, and he runs up and he puts his head on the one side of the truck, and I duck down, and then I see the paws of the other one going around the other side, and I'm like, oh crap. And so I just jumped up and got into the truck and got onto the top of the truck. And as they both jumped up, one on the hood, one in the back, I was kicking their faces, keeping them off of me. Mm-hmm. And then I just woke up. I don't know what happened. I woke up with one of them like pawing my pants, with his claws to try to pull me off. And I was like, oh, man. And I woke up. So it's just, I've had that recurring dream for years, and I don't know what it means, but
they usually say recurring dreams if they're the same. Maybe that's something on assignment in your life or something you struggle with. I don't know. I don't believe in all that, in any of that. I believe there's some truth to everything, but I'm a believer in Christ. So, I always fight my battles with the name of Jesus, and my faith in him. So, I really don't know what to say. I know, in the past, my sister used to have a dream of, there was always this one spot going, because we used to live like a half a mile up a dirt road in the mountain in the Catskills. When we moved out of Yonkers, we went to real country, and there is real deep country in New York State. She would always say she would try to leave the house, and there was always something chasing her, and she would wind up getting into this flame of fire. And she was told that there was some witch put a curse on her, and once she was told to do certain things, she never had those dreams again. But it was reoccurring for her. I don't believe in that stuff. I just don't. I don't. Like I said, I fight my battles through the name of Christ.
Well, that's good. Can I ask a question though? Like, why are you're all bundled up too? Is it cold where you're at?
I'm in Buffalo, New York, and yeah, we were sitting outside. My husband and I, we had a fire, so I'm still a little chilly.
Okay, because like you
and with the heat, it's like you can't turn the heat on right now at the same time because it's not that cold, but it's still there's a chill.
Because I see you and the nook of the north up here. Both are just.
Yeah, it's freaking freezing out here, bro.
Yeah, it's chilly. It's a bit chilly outside.
Because down here, I think right now it's like 69 or 70, something like that. It's not even bad. Like Yeah. But and where you're at in Buffalo, man, let me tell you, I get some weird stories. There's a guy that works at the dealership where I just traded in some vehicles. Because I didn't need them. I'm just like that. We had too many for my job, and I said, okay, so we had to get rid of some of these work vehicles and lighten the load financially. And so his name was Neil. Shout out to him. He was the guy that helped me with my deal. But he's from that area. He's from Newfane. We're right outside of Newfane.
Oh, yeah, that's not far from. He's in Niagara County, Newfane.
Yeah, Niagara, and that's where my best friend was from. And then that's weird because I knew another guy named Neil that was from right outside of Rochester, and he was a tough guy. And you could tell this other guy, he's pretty tough, and my friend was tough. And I was like, man, I've met some really tough people from that area.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's some really tough dudes, man.
I love Western New York. The people here are great. Really, it's so different from the other parts of New York. But yeah, there's some pretty tough guys.
Yeah. It's just a different breed of people up there, and the guy that used to work for me, his name was Neil too. So I know two of them, and then the guy from the dealership. And that guy's a big barrel-chested, big guy, and the guy used to work for me. He was a wrestler, and so was my friend Roger that passed away. They were both like really tough guys that worked for me at different times and fighters,
Yeah.
And I remember just like hearing them talk about, growing up in that area and all the weird stuff. And, I would listen to the stories that they had. And they were all fighters. And there's a woman that saw, I call it the Bear King because that's the legend. But Jenna Holenbeck, she was on our show and she's from that area. And I was telling her about some friends, not really friends, but I met them through the show. And actually, they saw me on another show, and then we became friends. But they were telling me a story about this Dogman creature that went through their window, but it was like a spirit, and it went through their window, the front windshield of them driving, and they were driving in one of those like Jeep Gladiators or whatever. And the guy that was driving it, he was a black belt in Kenpo, and so we were talking about Kenpo and. He's a tough guy. Like he showed me a couple of videos of him and like doing some stuff. And I said, dude, doesn't surprise me. You're from that area. Cause everybody that I met up, they're like a minch, like real men. Like
I noticed with the people here, especially with the men, like if their heart is set on something, they follow through with it with all of their heart.
They're not just shit talkers, man. I'm telling you, they're pretty tough guys. And you got to realize too, it gets so damn cold up there. Buffalo.
You got to find something to do to keep you, occupied.
I've never been to New York. I've never been to that state. I've been all over the world. Yeah, I've heard.
You have to visit.
I do. I want to. I told my wife. I said I want to go up there. There's 11 states up there that I haven't been to Maryland. Haven't been to Vermont or Connecticut. My nephew lived up there in Connecticut in that area, and so he says it's real pretty, especially in the fall.
Yeah.
I'd love to go up there. I'd like to visit New Jersey, the Pine Barrens, and I want to go up. I don't give a shit about New York City. I hate New York City, but I'd love to go to the other areas.
Yeah, there's nothing special there. Trust me.
Yeah, there's not. And Maine, I'd love to go to Maine. It's so beautiful up there, and just all those different places. Massachusetts, because I like Boston.
Yeah,
never been there, but I've had these.
And then you have the islands you can visit. Too. Yeah, like Martha's Vineyard and Cape Cod, and there's a couple of other ones, but yeah, they're super fun. I went there once years ago when I was younger, and I still remember it. Just beautiful places. Yeah, you're missing out on a lot. I
haven't been up there to that area. I've been everywhere else, but I haven't been up there. And I think it's 11 states. Let me look at a map. Let me look it up because now you got me wondering if that's even the case. What happened to Richards here? Okay, he restaged here.
Yeah, I'm back. Stupid connection issues up here.
He's like, yeah, I'm back. I mean, you don't have to be on if it bothers you.
No, it ain't like that, sir.
Sir. Well, yeah, I like that. Call me sir.
Right?
Call me sir.
Just trying to figure out the hot spot here. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, man. So here's the weird thing. So I've been to Pennsylvania, but I haven't been to Delaware, and I haven't been to Maryland because I went through Pennsylvania by way of Ohio.
Okay.
You know what? I haven't been to West. I haven't been to. Oh, you know what? I was in Virginia. I haven't been to West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11.
Okay.
So it's weird because I've been to Virginia on a different trip. I was in North Carolina and I decided to go up to Virginia and I didn't go to West Virginia. And then on another trip, I was in Ohio and I cut across. It was weird. I went Illinois, Indiana, dipped down into Kentucky and then went back up into Ohio and then up into Michigan and then came back down and then loop back around. But we just went right into Pennsylvania. So, but I haven't been to Philadelphia, and I know it's a crappy place, but I'd at least like to say I've been there, and I'd like to go to Maryland, Delaware. Yeah. So there's 11 states I haven't been to, folks. I've been to Alaska, Hawaii. I've been to all the other states, and I've been to like 4 other continents. I've been to Asia, Africa, Europe. Let's put it this way. I've been to 5 because I've been to South America, Asia. I just dipped into South America. So it was North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa. So I've been 5 continents.
Did all that traveling and you didn't hit the Northeast, huh?
Crazy thing, isn't it? That's a weird thing. Most people would just be like, and I've been to Australia. I've been to Darwin, and I've been to Sydney.
Nice.
So Sydney, when I was young and playing ball, we went down there, and it was a real adventure. But then I was young, and then Darwin, I was on a ship, and I was trying to find my sea legs, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I didn't know what I was doing with myself. I just decided to go travel around, and it was my dad, because he was one of those dads that really, he was a typical boomer dad that didn't care about his latchkey kid. Yeah, go out and find yourself in the world. If you die,
our generation. Die. Yeah, they didn't care. They just let us go.
Mm-hmm. I think my dad's whole thing would have been like, well, if you die, it's going to kind of be sad, but I don't have the responsibility of having to help you in any way. It's a win-win. And I get all that sympathy from people. So my dad was like, goodbye, and then when I come back, where were you? Where were you at? And Spokane or wherever? No, I was in Zimbabwe. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it's a good thing you went to wherever you went.
No clue.
He didn't give a shit. Let me put it that way. And my mother really didn't care either. She was just like, I told everybody you were in jail. She literally said that. I'm not even joking. I mean, I don't know if she really meant that or if she was playing and people took it serious. But my aunt was like, I thought you were in jail. And I was overseas.
You're exploring the world,
And I said, no, I was actually overseas. I went to another continent. And she was like, really? What was it like? I was like, it was interesting. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, great. Yeah. Well, happy Thanksgiving. You're in another country. And you can honestly say not many people back home give a shit if you live or die. I was up in a tree. I'm not going to tell you what I was doing. But I was up there and I was like, if I just fell down and died right now, nobody would even give a shit. And that's a sad, that hits you hard. You're just like, you're nobody's favorite person. Maybe my grandmother, but she had a bunch of other grandkids. And for all I know, she told everybody that they were her favorite kids.
They were her favorite, yeah.
Who knows, but I know she gave a shit, but a lot of other people didn't,
I got you. I know. I understand, Josh. Trust me. My parents were the same. They were very selfish. Mm-hmm. They didn't care. They lived their own life. And I was the same way. I have a twin sister who I don't talk to.
Why is that? Twins do that.
We a lot of division in the family, a lot of division. It's just terrible, like awful fighting and backstabbing. But we were running off doing our own thing. Like I said, we grew up on this side of Faro. My mother thought at 13 years old, she raised that age. I'm done raising kids. You're on your own now.
That's kind of how it was for us.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it was just chasing the almighty dollar. And, I look at my aunts and uncles and they were nice to me, but I wasn't their kid and I wasn't their responsibility.
Right.
And my aunts and uncles on my mom and my dad's side, because on my dad's side and my mom's side, both had big families. Even though my dad's family was white country people, they had huge family, and bigger than my mom's even. And my mom's family is Mexican. She's one of 6 kids. My dad had 4 half brothers and sisters, and he had 3 stepbrothers. So there was a lot of them, and not even counting my dad's half brothers or his stepbrothers. My dad's family is big, real big. And then if you put them in there, then it's even bigger.
Yeah.
And then my sister, one of my sisters is my half sister. And we have a different dad. So her family, on her dad's side, I was always pretty close with them. I got along. I was raised with her half brother. And her and him were never close. And so one day he tells me, because me and him got along, we were locked up in the same facility. we have a sister. We're about the same age. And I think he's 6 months older than me. And he was like, she's not a very nice person. I'm like, she's not. I was like, she's not going to come visit either one of us in here. We're going to be locked up in here. And that's going to be the end of it. She don't give a crap. You should have not gotten locked up or whatever. So she went and visited me one time, and then years later, he had gotten locked up again. He ended up pretty much like kind of institutionalized, and I talked to him again, and he was just like, how's our sister, you know? And I told him she's the same way. She don't give a shit about you. She don't give a shit about me. Borrowed a bunch of money, never paid it back. That's just how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
But she's all in the church.
That's why I don't go to church, because of people like that. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, people like that make you, you shy away from it because of that kind of stuff. But that, to me, you have to put that aside and go, you know what? I'm not going to let it stop me, because I'm still going to have church one way or another. If I have to do it myself with my people and whatever, I'm going to praise God and I'm going to be in Christ. But
of course,
I pray for those people because it's all fake to them. It's kind of like this. It's a show. It's a big, it's a big charade. Yeah. And so I look at it like that, and I don't have a lot of people in my life that I can actually point to and say, hey, if I need help, they're going to be there, because either they can't or they won't. And
they won't.
Yeah, I have aunts and uncles on both sides, like I said, but what they have is going to their kids and their grandkids, and they all have a lot of kids and grandkids. And I will say this, I was a little jealous because their children were very spoiled. Very spoiled. And I watched them just get vehicle after vehicle and destroy them. I watched them inherit money and just get everything that could be possibly given to them.
Nothing valued because it's given.
And I struggled and fought for every scrap, everything I had. And I remember being 17 and homeless, and that's a weird thing when you're 17. That's not a very that's not a very old person to be homeless, and asking for help, and my mother basically telling me, well, you got yourself into, you get yourself out of it. And I'm like, and I just
that's hard.
It's a very hard thing. Yeah. But I fought my way out, and nobody can sit there and go, oh, well, you know what? I did this. I helped him and brought him out of poverty, and it was me. Nobody can say that, because it was these right here that did it. Nobody else did it.
That's
I
right.
fought my way out.
And God's had his hand over you. Looking back,
always.
I've realized, that God has had his hand over my life, because there's some situations that I look back and I'm like, I shouldn't be alive and I shouldn't have gotten out of that. But, and I'm sure you have as well. And, God, and I don't care. I'll die for that, for my faith. I will. And
there may come a point when we have to. And that's going to be, but it's the spirit of sacrifice that you, at some point, when you were told to stand and deliver, because we are moving further and further away from Christ. And that is as a country, as a people, just in the West in general. You see all this stuff going on now over in Spain and happening in Italy. They are fighting for their lives because the European Union, and I said it when I called it when it first happened, I said, it's a trap. I told all my European friends, and I had a lot of them, and I told them, I said, you are all in big trouble. If you join that thing is that woman, Merkel, Angela Merkel, that woman was a dyed-in-the-wool communist. She was a communist. Imagine this. There's a picture of her and two other girls, and all of them became leaders of that. And
I just read something about her. Something about her, the Merkel lady, right?
She's terrible. Terrible person.
The new Canadian Prime Minister quoted Karl Marx 33 times in his book.
Well, Donald Trump is saying that he wants Canada and America to be one.
Well, he can shit in one hand, one in the other, see which one he gets first, but that's not going to happen. As much as I would love to have Canada, the territory, and I would love to have their minerals and their resources, I don't want their people. I don't want Canadistan, and I don't want all the leftists that are going to come pouring.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's not me. I don't care what anybody says. I don't want it. There are things on the right that I don't agree with. People have asked me this before. They say, well, why don't you agree with this and that? Because it doesn't benefit me or my people in any way. It's a very destructive thing. I don't want to give all our money to Ukraine or these other countries like Egypt or Israel. I don't want that. And there's well, they're our biggest allies. Bullshit. Every one of them is a problem, and none of them are going to help us.
No,
So
we
stop
protect
believing
them.
in the bullshit. Stop believing in the lies.
I have to get my
There's
husband on with
reasons.
you and speak with you because we were just having a long conversation before we came in. And he was going over all this with me about what happened even to his own country, that it was divided, that the Muslim Brotherhood was basically bought and funded by America, and they bought into it. And now his country, Libya, is divided from East and West. So, and the East is ruled by this no, the West is ruled by the Muslim Brotherhood, and the East is basically the best they're going to get, pretty right now.
So your
So,
husband's from Libya?
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. So then he understands, and ISIS was a
Very
creation
much.
between I don't even want to say it because I'll probably get in trouble over here on this platform. But I mean, ISIS was created. Let's put it that way, by people in charge.
Sorry, I probably said something I should have said.
No, I mean it's the truth, and here on PRT we value that more than anything. I speak out about it, and I've been smashed, and they've dropped my sub count down to whatever. But the funny thing is, I have everybody I need. I don't need more. If we don't have more, we don't get more. That's fine. Because even if they take me off this platform, wherever I go, I have a following that will find me.
Absolutely.
I promise you, they'll find me. My people will find me. It doesn't matter. Whatever I speak, when I go to someone else's channel, they're shocked. They could have a 26 people follower, and they'll get 300 or 400 people in the chat. Because wherever I go, people are going to follow me. They're going to listen. And there's nothing that can stop that other than my death. And that's it. And even then, the seeds are already planted. People are already, that's blossoming, and people are learning. They're growing. The spirit that everybody ignores is the most important thing, because you don't even need a brain at that point. There have been people who've literally died, and when they opened their brain, they had nothing but water in their head. That's the truth. What do you think that is? That's their spirit that powered them their entire lives.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now. I had a friend, my friend Mickey, who literally, when he died, he died really young. He was only 32 when he died. But when he died, they looked at his brain, because he was always having these headaches, and part of his whole right of his brain was gone. He didn't even have it, never developed.
Wow.
And I never noticed anything wrong with that guy other than having headaches. The fluid built up in his brain eventually. And then they went to do this surgery on him, but he had real high blood pressure at that point. And he wasn't a real big guy. It was because of his condition. And it was like cephalitis. I forgot what they call it. Something cephalitis. I don't want to try to.
Encephalitis. Yeah.
No, it's called something else, but it's like water on the brain. And so they thought that that's all it was. And they did an x-ray, and then they said something's weird here. So he didn't have, whatever, but his family was Jehovah's Witnesses, and they were real weird. So when he died, they just buried him. They didn't let science look at him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He was from the town I lived in out in West Texas. What's crazy is that this guy, I knew him. He was good in school and everything. How did he do all this? If the brain is that important, how did he do it? It's because his spirit he was a strong spirited guy.
That's right.
Tough kid. And I can tell you this, the spirit is the most important thing. The brain is the second most important thing, then the body. The body follows the mind follows the spirit.
Yes.
If you sit there and you're having anxiety, I was lifting weights yesterday, and when I lift, I'm like an animal. I don't play around. If you're a lesser person and you don't know, don't do my workout, because I promise you 100% you could die, because you probably won't be able to handle it. If you're just sitting around, hanging out, smoking cigarettes, and let me go do what you do. Be careful, because you may not. Well, yeah, there you go. Richard's right there. You can, if you're just hanging out with like a plaid jacket on in front of a greenhouse, just smoking,
Hey, look, green.
I would tell you, don't go do my, just drink out of your Tim Hortons mug and be quiet.
Fair enough.
No, what it is though, is somebody that gets off the couch and they're not used to it. I'm telling you, you're not going to do my 40. I do 40 exercises. You will die, because your body, you have to acclimate to it. It takes some people 6 weeks to get into to be able to do what I do. I'm not even joking. So I'm telling you, when I'm sitting there toward the end of my workout, I'm like, man, I'm feeling it, And I start feeling this kind of anxiety and this fatigue set in, and I just say, stop. No, that's not going to happen. No, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in my world. And I just shove it out, and I just continue to smash and grind, and then I'm done. And then when I'm done, I'll worry about how I feel and whatever. And So yesterday I did. When I was done with my workout, I called my wife. I said, honey, I feel, she goes, of course. Because, I said, but I finished, I didn't do the whole 40. I did 38, but I was good,
Close to it.
Yeah.
You can work yourself, because I've worked in a hospital before. People have come in with amnesia. They work themselves out so much that it's like they don't remember anything. Who they are. They get this amnesia from overstimulating or whatever it is with their workouts. But yeah, so be careful with
the
that.
lack of oxygen to the brain can literally, can't catch your breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that happens too. And people, it happens with cardio too, but there are people who will literally fall over, or they'll go and throw up, or whatever it is you got to do. I've never thrown up from lifting. I've seen people do it, and even in football practice, baseball practice, I've had people coach. One time in baseball practice, we screwed up, and he just ran us, and guys were falling over. And I said, dude, even in football, we didn't run like that. And I told him, I stopped and I told him, I said, this coach is a coach from my hometown. I said, this is crazy. I was team captain, and I stood up to him and I said, you're going to kill everybody out here.
Yeah. No, I tell my son, even, I said, if your coach pushes you too much, I said, you got to let him know. Don't let him make you do too much, because, people are dropping dead. Young kids.
Yeah, and the coach said, well, that makes you stronger. That which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I didn't believe it even then. I said, no, it doesn't. It just makes you closer to death. And everybody was throwing up. And he goes, that's good. You need to. No, you don't. If you're throwing up, you're close to death.
Vomit all over the place. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So he was doing that in baseball practice. And I was just like, this is crazy. And he literally, luckily, we had a really strong-willed head football coach, had a really good program back then. And the baseball coach started trying to tell the football coach, and I was like, I told the coach, I said, this guy almost ran us to death last summer. I'm not playing. if he's going to start talking about how we're supposed to play, I don't even want to do it. Because
there's no fun in that. There's no fun. Yeah, no fun in that. Drill sergeant. You're in the military. No, thank you.
Well, one of our defensive coaches, the line coach, and he was defensive coordinator too, but he was our line coach, and he coached us directly. But he was a Marine Corps sergeant, and literally, but he wasn't the one that was like that. He wasn't like that at all. What he would do, and this is crazy. He was a black guy, and I was the only white guy on the defensive line, and he would tease those other black dudes to try to work harder, because he's like, this white guy's out working you. He'd pit us against each other, and I would just knock the piss out of people. And then he would goad them. He'd be like, are you going to let him do that? And then he would just laugh, but he always stuck up for me. He liked me a lot. And I know one time I was walking home from practice, and it's a long walk, and I didn't have a ride. And he pulled over, and we went to Sonic, and we got a cheeseburger, whatever. And I ate that burger so fast. And he was like, dude, he goes, man, what the hell? Ain't nobody feeding your ass? And I said, well, I don't eat a whole lot. He goes, I can tell you. He goes, you probably lost 15 pounds, in your gut from last year. And I said, yeah, I'm definitely thinner, than I want to be. He's like, I know you're not pushing yourself in the weight room as much. And so he started, his wife started cooking, and he was feeding me. Him and his wife were feeding me. So that was cool, and so I was actually beefing up a little bit, and I gained about 20 pounds, right at the beginning of the season, just lifting and just eating. And she was making beef and rice, chicken and rice, and feeding me. And that's ridiculous that has to happen, when you have parents. But, at that time I didn't live with my parents. And even though I was a teenager, I lived with my friend's family. And and they were very poor Mexican family. They couldn't feed all of us. So I was always hungry, And so I had, a problem, and I just couldn't, I didn't get enough to eat, And I talked about it on the show that I had actually broken into a house to eat, and of course my enemies, they're like, well, he was such a greedy fat kid. He broke into a house. I wasn't fat at all. I was skinny. Yeah. And they said that I broke into the house because I just wanted to eat food. No, I broke in it because I was literally going hungry. I was probably about 15 pounds overweight,
Yeah. I mean, those people clearly, they want to just talk out of there. Yeah.
They're demonically influenced. Yeah, they're demonically influenced.
Doesn't matter what you say, they'll attack you.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've seen their pages. I've seen what they've written. They're just, those people are out of their mind. They're out of their mind. They're insane.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, rejoicing when Nellie got ill. They're just like, yeah, they're hoping that she dies and all this other stuff. You know,
That's
I tell you right now,
disgusting.
very
I'm praying for
disgusting.
Nellie, and Nellie's going to be okay. Okay.
Yeah, I hope so because she's my
Nellie,
world. And
of course.
but you know, they think this too. They think that if something happens to her, that I'm gonna crumple up and die. You know, I love my wife with all my heart, but there is nothing in this world that's gonna make me crumple up and die
Right.
because I'm on a mission. And my mission is to clear these hurdles and to get that information out there, and it's going to keep going. There's nothing's going to stop that. And Nellie
Well,
is a
that's your
big part
calling.
of that. But that
Yeah.
is my calling, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
That's why we had to do the paywall. I mean, I have to keep it. The train has to keep rolling, and it's
Yes.
unfortunate for people who just say, "Well, I can't afford $10." I'm sorry, but I have to do this because the show has to be supported, and it's not being supported. Like tonight, literally, I think we got one
Are
donation.
you kidding me? There's Christian people, there's ministers that put up paywalls that
Yeah.
if you want to watch all of their video, you have to pay. So please don't feel guilty for doing it.
I don't.
People want to watch
I'm just not going to let it happen. I got to do what I got to do.
Yes.
Tonight we've had one donation all night. We've been on for 2 hours. So that's
Yeah.
why we have to do it because we can't depend on people's mercy. And it's no offense to anybody that's watching. If you're broke, you're broke. I understand that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's why, because it's always the same people that donate. So I can't just, you know, tomorrow
I
night's
understand.
episode, and I don't know if Anthony, if you're listening or if he's there, or if somebody can call Anthony. He's ill. He's not doing too good. He's in the
Aw.
break room asleep. But if somebody could, he's got the schedule. So for tomorrow night, I can let you guys know what the show is going to be. I don't know what it is that he's going to drop tomorrow night. We did record recently, and we talked about my friend who's a Ute native, and we did his episode, and that's going to come out in a couple of weeks, either on the Patreon or the members only. And it is a crazy story about a skinwalker. Another one that we did, I can't remember what we did. But anyway, the second part to that, I'm actually going to tell it on Wednesday's show because it can stand alone on its own. If you want to go back to the beginning, you can go watch the Patreon. And then there's another one we recorded. I'm trying to remember what it was. And I can't remember off the top of my head now. If Tony, I don't know if Tony's in the chat. Probably not. And I don't know if Anthony's even awake or.
Oh, you're there all by yourself tonight, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know where everybody's at.
Uh-oh. And my son's sick too. It's the season. That's what it is.
Yeah, everybody. My head is just. It feels like somebody's hitting it with a hammer. I think I'm getting whatever they got, but it's like all this pressure up in here. But it ain't going to stop me. I'm going to still keep doing what I do. I work sick. I don't sick doesn't mean anything. It's just a hindrance.
Well, that's how it is. My son's trying to get out of school. I'm like, nope, you're going to get up and go to school. I said, sick or not, you're going to school. We're not doing this. But yeah. So I had one more thing that I wanted to mention. I was on your show a month or two ago, and I remember I was mentioning about like the shadows that I see out of the corner of my eye. And
I don't remember.
So yeah, I was on and I was telling you a story that I was seeing like these black shadow people out of the corner of my eye. And then I went into saying that the people that lived here before us, the wife had a blood disease, and our neighbors was telling us, he's like, yeah, I used to joke with Amy, his now wife, saying, oh, I think you have vampires that live next door, because he's like, the woman would never come out during the day. They would come out in the evening time when the sun would set.
Mm-hmm.
And another neighbor said that, yeah, she was sick. She had a blood disorder. So I haven't been feeling well. And I called my doctor. He sent me in a script, and I've never had blood issues ever. Come to find out, I have a blood disorder. And I have to go to an oncologist, hematologist to find out what's going on. So, but I'm just like renouncing it and rebuking it in the name of Jesus that I'm fine. But I really think that spiritual warfare is real. And I did a cleansing and an anointing of my home yesterday. So I'm just not accepting anything. But yeah, for sure, It's real. And when people feel something or people are going through something, it's always good to do a cleansing in your house and to
Mhm.
cast anything out that is not of God. People come in, people visit, just conversations, things that come through your TV and things you listen to. You just never know what you're
Right.
allowing into your home. So, yeah.
And doing the research that I do too, I've had to look up things and use. I've had to buy books that are off, that they're not off the beaten path. Like not necessarily like magic books or whatever, but stuff that is not available like on Amazon. And I've got a friend that's a book dealer, and I can usually there's a couple of them, and I can find these old books, and some of them are in other languages. And so you have to, dig deep for some of these stories and some of these things, and
Mhm.
it can get tedious. But that's one of the things that I pride myself on is just trying to get to go deep
Yeah.
into these accounts and stories and get to the origins of them and try to get, and it is a lot of entertainment too. There are things that aren't. Hold on one second.
So there's a certain grid that's been set up in the last 5 or 6 years around us all. It's a 5, and it has the 7th letter of the alphabet behind it.
Mhm.
And it uses scalar wave technology, and scalar wave technology can actually change your blood type.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's not
it
even, that's
manipulates-
no BS, because I thought I
Yeah.
was a certain blood type, and then when they checked
No.
my blood, I was something else.
Yes, it's changing everybody's blood type, quite literally.
Mhm.
Changing your mitochondria, changing your DNA. It's madness. It's madness how it works. These scalar waves can do, tuned into the right frequency, man, they can literally do just about anything.
I thought it was the Mandela effect, because I was like, that's not my blood type. I actually argued with my doctor about it.
I don't know. That's what I believe I've come to the conclusion of. But yeah, it could be a bit of the Mandela effect as well.
Yeah.
But that whole thing, that whole system's integrated. Quantum computing, CERN, and the 7th letter
I think we need
grid
to
that they've
we
set
need
up
to go.
around us. It's
Turn
all
the light
it's all
on and get over here.
it's a weapon system, right? Like when your F-16 is no good without the fighter pilot, without the ground crew, without the weapons systems in it, without the fuel in it, right? It's a weapon system. These things as well, they're weapon systems, and they're all these pieces are integral to them.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
what are they going to get out of changing our blood type? I could see if they're trying to
I'll tell
change
you-
our DNA.
I'll tell you exactly why. Because the scam that we just went through, I'm not going to even say what it's that.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Okay. It affected certain people with blood type A.
Yes,
More
that's
than
a-
anybody, A positive. And I was
Yeah.
not A positive. I was O negative. And now it's A positive in my blood. I know what I was.
Really?
Yes. And I'm
Oh.
telling you right now, like I argued with my doctor vehemently, and he goes, well, this is what it says. And I said, that's impossible. I started laughing. So I called my dad. My dad had the same blood type. And I said, Dad, this is impossible. What is this? So he goes and gets his blood checked. His blood type changed. That is
Wow.
something that is so I'm crazy. It's crazy that you said that, Richard. I'm glad you reminded me, because that's one of a million things I wanted to talk about on the show one day.
Yeah.
I can tell you this is absolutely the truth. And the majority of the people that were being affected by that particular the virus type A.
Yep.
They're doing
Yeah, I
it
was
so
hit
that
hard with that. Yeah.
they change your blood type so that you're more susceptible to these things. Because I used to not get sick like that. I was sick when I was little. I had allergies, everything, and then I didn't get sick for years and years, and then all of a sudden I started getting sick again, and it was weird. And so I got
Same as
checked
me,
for
bud.
everything. I was like, what could it be, And the doctor's like, well, you're clean, you don't have anything, and it's just I don't know, And then I got my blood type checked, because what Richard's is talking about. I said, you know what, I'm going to check my blood type just to make sure, and and when it comes back, it's really weird.
I've had a few people tell me that their blood type has changed and they couldn't figure out how it was done either.
See,
Now you're making me think I need to get my,
this
which
is
I
weird.
will
Look, okay,
find
so
out.
check it out. Gabrielle Craig says mine was A plus, and mine is now O positive. Mine was O
What?
negative. Now it's A positive. See,
Oh.
Randy says has always been A positive. A positive is a very huge part of the population is A positive, but mine, I know what mine was. I was O. So was my
I'm
dad.
O negative. Well, last I knew I was O negative.
See, that's the weird thing.
There's a certain tribe that controls technology in our world, and I dare not say who. I think you can figure it out real
You
quickly.
got to be careful with talking about who,
Yeah.
because
But-
they have a lot of power. You know,
And that
It's
Gates guy.
a bloodline war, man.
I
It's a
talked about it
bloodline
last
war.
night a little bit at the end of the show, and so I just got to be careful because
Yeah.
that
It's a
and
bloodline
I don't
war.
mean all of it either. There's a certain subset within them that's who it is. They've chosen, and the thing is, people have asked me before. They've said, well, what is the deal here? And I said the reason that they were important at all is because of the bloodline of Christ, the King David.
Yes.
And that was his bloodline. That's it. And it had nothing else to do, but they turned it into this whole big old thing, and it wasn't, because that didn't exist at that time. It's a weird thing, and people don't understand, and then they'll run off the rails and attack you. But the people that founded it, they did it so they could fleece the Christians. That was the whole point. That's why they named it that, because it wouldn't even have been named that back then when Jesus was here. That's the thing. I wish people would educate themselves instead of following these false prophets and these preachers that just lie like it ain't nothing. The John Hagees of the world, he needs to be just, and they live forever because they're vampires.
Yeah.
They give them that blood. The blood ritual is something that they created. The blood ritual. Right?
Well, life is in the blood, and it speaks about it in the Bible. That's why you're
Look
not
at the
supposed to
mattresses
drink
that
the
they
blood.
found underneath those underneath New York City. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's
No, yeah. Yeah.
no, that's what they did. What do you think those mattresses had blood all over them for? It
Where?
didn't surprise me even one bit. One of my friends is one, and he's hiding out up in the mountains because he spoke out,
Oh,
and he's hiding. He'll be probably hiding there forever. Like, I know where he lives, but a lot of people don't.
yeah.
Because he's said a lot of things. He was very critical of their military and the things that they've done. And it is sickening. And they'll attack me because I'm sitting here saying, hey, I see how they treat their own people. One of my friends he's from there, and he lives down on the coast. And his wife was subject to sexual assault, while in the military. And then when he spoke out, they threatened to kill him. So, they're very brutal people. And they say, well, we're living around all our enemies. We have to be. Nobody told you to go fucking live around all your enemies, dumbasses.
Yeah.
That you chose to do that. So you could create this, this.
My husband was telling me he was watching a woman whose husband passed away. He served in the military, and he joined to protect his country. And then she said he realized that he was fighting a rich man's war. It wasn't a matter of protect. Well, I got to be careful what I say too, because I don't want your numbers to go down. But
Smedley Butler said that as well when he realized what the deal was.
yeah, it's not about serving and protecting your country. It's fighting a rich man's war.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
So I need some prayers here. My wife has something really weird that just went on at the house, and all of our animals are freaking out. When I'm not there, that's when these people decide to do their bullshit.
Surely
no
there
weapon
is no
formed against
enchantment.
your home shop. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You just got to take authority over that in the name of Jesus.
Father, I
Just
pray in
cast
the name
it
of
out.
Christ. I ask these things in the name of Christ. These things be done if it is your will. Please protect my people and my household and our animals and everything that we have and we hold dear. I plead the blood of Jesus over everyone, and everyone that I love, care about, and I'm close to, Lord God. And my wife and my animals that are at the house, please calm their fears, protect them and watch over them. Don't allow the evil to come in and attack us, Lord God. And the people that are sending it, please send it back to them. I tie, bind, and rebuke it in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Send it back to sender.
Surely
Amen.
there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought. That's the end.
Yeah, and the thing is too, when they talk about the blessing, they use that, but that is Jacob's name. They're talking about Jacob and the bloodline, Jacob's bloodline, which led to David, which led to Jesus.
Exactly.
That was it. That was it. It was all it was. They've turned it into a big old thing. Like, oh, well, we got this Blackstone company. God blesses it because it belongs to us. No, it doesn't. No, that isn't how it works. And money is an object to be used, a tool, not to enslave and to control and to kill. And that's what they do. And those people, though, like I said, they're the same people of the bloodline of the Pharisee, and it was latched onto by the Khazars, and of course they did what they did, and now they control and run everything in this matrix, and they're trying to keep everybody locked down. And they say, well, it's because we're this and we're that. You're not. You are what Jesus said you are. You are of the house of the Shaitan. And he knew they were going to kill him, and they did. And they've tried to pass the buck on, oh, the Romans did it. No, the Pharisees did it. They were the ones that were there on their little donkeys, making sure that he was hung up on the cross. And they were the ones that put the worm in the ear. And the Roman hierarchy said, okay, do what they want, because if we don't, they're going to revolt. And they got the whole crowd whipped up saying, Barabbas, Barabbas. They chose a murdering rapist over Christ.
That's right. They sure did.
Remember that. And they will choose each other over you any day of the week. And murdering rapists doesn't matter. If they say the Kol Nidra, it's all good. It's over with. They don't have to worry about it. They can rip you off. They can kill you. It doesn't mean anything, because according to them, their version of God will forgive them.
Why do you think they said to Pilate? Can I just say one thing? Why do you think they said to Pilate, "You're no friend of Caesar's if you don't do this"? It's because they control Rome.
Yeah. Well, they had Roman gold, and Caesar was using it. That's how he built the Pax Romana. Was a 40-year period of peace, and that they were instrumental in it because they were providing him with gold. If you ever watch that movie or that show Rome, you'll see it at one point when Herod goes to Rome, and he's welcomed by Caesar because he needed his money. They had a lot of gold. The battles with the Canaanites were very lucrative, very profitable. And they had it there for a long time. That's why whenever the Assyrians came, those two tribes, they didn't get the Judeans, Judah, Levi, they did not get taken down. They were not torn asunder. They lie and say, well, it's because God protected us. No, he didn't. You bought your way out. Your land was basically laid barren, but you allowed your 10 tribes of the north, your brothers, to be taken and sold into slavery. The priesthood survived. The apparatus of the priesthood, the con artists, the ones that killed Jesus, they survived. They survived being taken captive, and they just became a vassal state of Assyria. See, that's what people don't understand. When you go back and you read history the correct way, you will see it piece by piece by piece, brick by brick by brick. You won't be confused anymore. You will completely understand it. But get this, in the West, the most hated subject by children is history. Because they've made it that way, because history is their enemy. When you learn history, you're going to know that they're not correct. And they'll tell you point blank, too. They got you through women. The women are the ones that have given over to that. I'm not attacking females. What I'm saying is they used women's altruism and their softer feminine side of being maternal to snuggle up to them as snakes. Don't let them hurt us, Why do you think that? Because dads, the men are the ones that are going to be around and talk. You don't want them together talking. So you got to destroy any sort of organization that they can build or create that will keep them away. Because then when men start talking, they're going to be like, well, what is the problem here? And then you're going to start problem solving. Right? So what do? You call them bigots. Oh, you're a bigot. You're a bigot. You're a bigot. It don't matter who it is. It can be black, brown, whatever. They're going to be a bigot because they're speaking out against them. And of course, anti-Semitic is the favorite term when there are lots of different Semites. There's Arabs, there's Kurdish, there's Persian, there's all kinds. There's North Africans. These people, Chaldean, there's you name it. There's a bunch of different Semites. Do I hate all of them? No, I don't. Do I hate any of them? No, I don't. I just don't like what these one group of people are doing because it's not correct. Look at what's happening in North Africa. Like we're talking about Libya. And if you look at their history, they were Phoenicians originally, but but before that, though, what were they? Right? Their lineage is a very proud heritage, a very proud
Iraq,
history.
I think.
The Berbers, all of those people, they come from, Hannibal, his people, Carthaginians. That was who ran that area. That was who controlled it. Rome destroyed them years ago, right? They defeated them. But if you look at who those people were, who the ones who were sacrificing, who were doing the child sacrificing, these are the same people who were worshiping Haman. Do you know who that is? They were literally from Israel, but they were living in the north, in what is now modern day Lebanon, and areas like Baalbek, and they were committing child sacrifice.
Mhm.
Those people were literally colonists from that region that went there and colonized that area. Haman is Baal. Baal
Yeah, I was
Haman.
going to say it's Haman Ball, right?
Yeah, Haman Baal. And they were worshiping him in Baalbek, which was, make no mistake, that was the northern Israelites. They
They
can
were
say it
throwing their
wasn't, but it
babies
was.
into the fire.
The babies into the
and-
fire, yes.
yeah.
And Tyre was right there. When Alexander sacked it, he said that it was a
Tyre.
city full of evil, Tyre. He goes, it was a city full of hate and evil and a place of slaughtering of innocents. That's what he called it.
Mhm.
Because they were from Israel, and those people were actually committing human sacrifice, child sacrifice. And they were told in the Old Testament that God says, do not do this. But they are a stiff-necked people, and they rejected God over and over and over again, to the point where the priesthood was actually rewriting the history and lying about who and what God was, claiming he was a dragon and that David was seeing a dragon. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that at all, because the dragon is the enemy. What they were doing was worshiping Shaitan. And Jesus tells them, he goes, you are worshipers of Shaitan. This is horrible what you've done to the house of the Lord.
Mhm.
What you've done is just break down the house of David. You've turned it into money-changing usurpers. He called them out on it many
Well, that's
times.
what the modern day church does when they, with their tithing and offerings.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest tithe that you can pay, I think that's defiling, the bride of Jesus when, because, you're the better Christian because you can pay more money every month.
What they were doing
100%,
essentially
man.
too is making the
a lot.
dragon, they were using their dragon to go up against the Sumerian dragon or the Babylonian dragon or whatever. And it's like, dude, you're not a dragon at all. God is not, he's a breaker of dragons. He's not a dragon. And he tells them in Ezekiel, I don't want these things. I don't need these things. Stop trying to make me take these burnt offerings. And he's telling them to stop shedding blood. They don't do it. They don't listen at all. But God is focused on the bloodline and lineage of Jesus to save us from this matrix, to pull us out of this mess that was created. And all these people have done is choke us out, try to choke the world out, and persecute the whole world. That's the conclusion that I've come to over the years of research and study I've done. This wasn't something I just woke up and said, you know what, I'm just going to think this. Bull crap, dude. This is lots and lots and lots and lots of study. And most people don't even know what the Tanakh is or what it says or what it does. And they don't know what the Talmud is or what it says or what it does. Go read it. And then you come back and tell me if it didn't make your stomach turn what they say about Christ and his mother. You go read that and tell me. And they preach from that, from their churches that they inhabit.
Or who they
That's
claim
my
their
problem
daddy
with
is.
them. And then Islam comes along and it just copies them. It's a copycat of them. It's a copy of one of the worst things you could do. And then they copy it and they just go off the rails with that shit. I argue with anybody about it. It's just horrible. It's awful. The laws that they make, the things that they do from those regions. And then Jesus tells us that Jerusalem isn't worth anything. It's full of archons. It's devoured by serpents.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus says, this is a horrible place. Why are we fighting wars over this city? Jesus is going to come down and make it the way it's supposed to be. That's when we need to worry about it. Until then, it doesn't matter what it is. It's an inhabited place of demons and serpents. It's full of
Israel was
spiders.
split into two, wasn't it? Wasn't there like the city of Jerusalem and then Israel? Weren't there's like separate?
At one time, there was pretty much, it was like its own little kingdom. But Israel was no longer a kingdom, and Israel hadn't been a kingdom for thousands of years. Israel was gone. It was torn asunder by the Assyrians. When God says in the Old Testament, I can't even tell you which one, you can look it up. You can look it up. He says, behold, Assyria, the rod of my anger. And he uses them to destroy Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Because if those are God's people, then why is he destroying them? That's the funny thing, right? What is, it's so baffling to everybody. They can't figure this out. It's not rocket science. He tried, and then they just wrote lie after lie after lie.
Well, they continued to worship the devil.
They did. When I tell people, they don't understand it because I didn't think they were ready for it. So I stopped talking about it, but it was something I had to say. I had to say this because they said, well, you don't believe in the God of Israel. I don't believe in the way that they wrote the God of Israel. What they were talking about, the priesthood, I don't recognize that God. I recognize the God as the Father of Christ.
Right.
That is the God that I worship.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, these other people, they wrote up all kinds of crazy stuff. And
Yeah,
then
because
all
the
these people
God of
nowadays are like, well,
priesthood-
that's what the Bible says. Yeah, the Bible was also written by fallible men who were lying. It's the truth. Not the prophets. They took the prophet's words and spun it. That's what they did. And they actually killed every single prophet that was ever sent.
Yeah, they did.
So why are we following these people, the usurpers, these Pharisees that tried to kill David, and then they did kill Christ? Now, what is that? You're going to tell me they have broken down the kingdom of David is gone. The lineage ended with Christ, but not totally. And here's the weird thing. And I'm not saying I'm a Palestinian fan or whatever, but the Palestinians are actually the inheritors of the true people.
Yes.
They are. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's flipped around. It's reversed. And now they're being laid down upon by these Khazars that are saying those are the bad guys. It's not a popular opinion. Now, I'm not down with terrorism or anything else, but is it terrorism when you're in someone else's land and you're saying this was ours thousands of years ago because of God that we wrote up because they changed it, right? Now it's ours.
So my husband was explaining that the European, I guess in Europe, they wanted to get rid of certain like minorities or groups of people because they were taking up their businesses. So that's why they created the state of Israel, and they sent all those people to Israel saying that they were the Jewish people. He was explaining it to me.
That's not exactly right. That's kind of like an over generalized way of putting it. No, it was actually because and this is what's crazy. If you watch Adolf Eichmann being put on trial by Israel, the Mossad captured him and they put him on trial. He says over and over again, he goes, it was all by design. It's your deal. Like, I worked for you. I'm a Zionist. This is a show trial.
Right.
He's saying that he's a Jew is what he's saying on there. And you're going like, what the it blows your mind. And then Goebbels is another one. Look at him.
All the top brass were.
Yeah, they were top brass. And yeah, pretty weird, right? And he's like, well, why don't you go get Hitler? You know where he's at. He's in Argentina. He got stopped in Gibraltar and they let him go. Why? Why would you let Hitler go? Unless he was part of the plan. Because he made some really stupid military decisions that even a 4-year-old child could go, okay, well, this piece probably shouldn't be here. It doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And Thor Wolf, with all due respect, he didn't die in Berlin. That skull belonged to a female that was shot and killed. And that's, what's his name? Stalin had it for a long time. And he wanted to believe it. But no, he went to Argentina. Now,
100%.
The Nazis were actually created by Otto and Gregor Strasser. Hitler worked for the Weimar Republic, which was just an arm of the Allies at that time because they had control over Germany. And they sent him in as a spy. And then, this guy was just so smart that he figured out how to take over the whole bullshit. I don't believe that for a second. He was a shill from day one. That's what I think, and I think that's what happened. I think he led him down a bad road, and maybe at one point he thought, maybe I could pull this off. I can fight the whole world with my allies. And he had allies. But at one point, they just had to drop out one by one because the power of the whole world was against them. And even as smart as the Japanese and the Germans and the Finnish and everybody that was on their side were, they couldn't overcome the powers of the International Bank. That's it, period. He led those people down a bad road, and they were all destroyed because an entire generation had to be devoured as a sacrifice. The Shoah was actually the German people, period.
Did you know that he claimed that Satan entered him one night in the alleys of Munich after drinking in the beer halls?
Never heard of that. I've read his memoirs and I've read the Mein Kampf bullshit. What are you talking about?
Well, that's one of the sort of hidden histories about Hitty, is that he claimed that Satan entered him in.
Yeah, I don't them hidden histories. I don't really get too much into that because that's just some bullshit that somebody made up. You know, I
Well,
mean, no offense to
be.
you, Dick, but I just don't believe that. I think he was possessed from day one. You know, and if you look at Stalin, how is it that he was one of 13 people that created communism, but he was the only non-Jewish one? Doesn't make sense to me either, does it? Look at him, the little fucker. You can look at him. He's a Georgian, right? But you can tell by looking at him, he's not a Russian at all. I don't know what he is, but he's a weird little dude. And I think that he used the NKVD, whatever it's called, the NKVD. He used them to destroy the Christian base, the kulaks, and get rid of them, the landholders. Think of the show Yellowstone. Guys that owned a bunch of land like him, they'd be killed on their own land. And most of those hierarchy were 90% Jewish. He used the Jewish base to kill off the Christians, and then he turned on the Jewish people and said, "Oh, we got to get rid of these people because they're owning everything." He already knew it, but Lenin always told them, "Hey, be careful, beware of Stalin, anybody but Stalin," because Stalin wasn't a Jew, and it was Lenin, it was Trotsky, it was what's her name, it was Engels, what was the other one? The female, she was another piece of shit. Try to remember her name. I don't know if anybody knows it. Type it in the thing or whatever. It was a female. I forgot her name, but they were the top, and then there was like 7 or 8 of them below them. But they're the ones that ran it, and they did it. And there always has to be a certain number of male to female ratio. I think it's 3 to 1, because if you look at the founding of the state of Israel, same thing. Golda Meir, Benjamin Gurion, Moshe Dayan. These people were all friendly with those people over there in Russia. And when they started killing them, Stalin was like, "Go to Israel. That's where you belong." And they did. Some of them were killed in other places. But that's what it was. And when you look at these people and you look at what they did, they destroyed Russia. They literally tore it down to ashes, dude, these communists. Then China went down and it was torn to ashes. They and their love to just destroy and devour like insecticons. And look at what they did. Communism was their baby. Yeah, I'm telling you, I could give you the entire whole spiel. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to be labeled as a degenerate because I'm telling you the truth. Because anybody who tells you what is real, they become the enemy. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you. And that they're going to point it out and say, well, that's what he's a bad guy because of blah, blah. Don't ever believe anything else he says because he said that, because that's the absolute freaking truth. And they call evil good and good evil.
I was just going to say that, Josh. In the end
That's what
days,
they do.
that's what it is. Yeah.
But the thing about me, I'll die for my beliefs. I'll die for what I know is right. And I know that these people are evil. And that they are totally evil. And it isn't even about this religion. What they believe is God is Satan. Mm-hmm. They're satanic. Look at the guy that was in charge. Look at who was in charge. I don't want to mess up his name, because I want to make sure you know who I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find him. Total degenerate guy. And I mean, I'm talking like just he's a homosexual degenerate. I mean, he is. It's to the point. I mean, I'm talking like this dude is trash. There's pictures of him dancing around in this nightclub or whatever, and you can look at the names. Just there it is, right there. This is him right here. Look at that. That's a guy that he's look at the way he's dressed. A piece of shit. Dmitry Kakalaka, whatever bullshit, CDC, head of the CDC when all of this crap went down, right? That's him.
Is that right a Greek name?
That's a Greek name.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's an openly satanic guy. Look again there on his chest. You see that? The bottom picture right there. You can see it. Pentagram, Baphomet, yes. Yeah. And he's dressed up like a whatever the hell these people dress up as, biker, whatever they do. But degenerate, an absolute degenerate. And he's in charge of the CDC.
He's one that was promoting orgies during the epidemic.
All of these people, if you stop and you look at the names, follow the money. It always leads back to them, the same people every freaking time. And we're supposed to sit back and go, well, it's not really happening, whatever. That's why Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, the Hodge twins are coming out and saying this. This isn't something new. This isn't something new. It's just that most people aren't going to talk about it because they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's scared of being called
Everybody's a
something.
coward.
I
Nobody
don't
wants
give
to
a
speak the
flipping
truth.
fuck at this point. I don't care. Like I said, if they take me off of here, I'll just go find another platform. I will always have an audience because people know I'm going to bring it. I'm going to tell you what they're doing. They're using these underground bunkers, these dumbs, and they're creating creatures, monsters from the monsters that already live within the earth. People say, well, there's no life within the earth. Really? Why does it say in the Bible over and over again? Those will be judged upon and within the earth. And when in Job,
Under the earth, above the earth,
up in and within the earth.
Yeah.
When Christ died when he was dead for 3 days, he went and ministered to the civilizations in the earth.
He did. Absolutely. And everybody will argue with me all day long. I get hate mail. I get a lot of good stuff too. I'm not even going to do, but I get hate mail. People tell me, you're what are you doing? What you're doing is you do it. Stay in your lane and all this other crap. I don't give a damn if you're into the UFO community, the Bigfoot community, the Dogman community, or ghosts or whatever. I'm going to talk about it because it's all connected and I will not stay in my lane. You know why?
Right.
Because
Nobody
there is
owns
no
any of
lane
them
for
anyway.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, big dog foot ghost man.
There is no lane. It's the truth is the truth. There it is. People are having these experiences and they're going to keep having these experiences. And people are asking the question, how do we fight these things? How do you defeat these things? Through Christ. Well, why are so many people against Christ? Why do you think they're against Christ? Because the people that killed him are now in charge. How about that?
Not allowing gateways, open doors to let these things in.
When the people who literally murdered him are running the asylum, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that they're going to be friendly toward Jesus? These people who do these ministries too, and they do all this fundraising for these people, and like they don't have enough already. How stupid are you? You're giving the knife to the butcher. He already has a knife. It's already plenty sharp. And then they're over here talking about we need to support them and blah blah. Why? They aren't us. They're not going to be us. They will never be us. There will be some that will come to us and be like us, but most of them won't. They're not going to change. You're not going to change Islam or Judaism at all. So why buddy up with them? It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. And I, for one, am personally sick and tired of it.
Just
Christ's
watch what
name has
I was going to say, just watch what their leaders say for themselves. Just go on YouTube and watch some of their videos.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's nauseating. I'm telling you,
it's something. They tell you the truth.
They will.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So if you use the name of Christ as frequencies, that is how you stop these entities that attack. His name has power. His name has power. If these people get their way, they will stop everything about Jesus. It will be destroyed. I watched one of them on a video one time. And he was just being very honest. He said, when we're powerful, there will be no more Jesus. There will be no more Christian. There will be over. Because he's being honest. He's telling you the truth. Your enemy is slapping you in the face and they're daring you to speak out. Simple as that. But people are scared. They're scared. They don't want the truth. They want it to be what they want it to be in their mind, like Sunday school. That's not what it is.
Who said the truth will set you free?
Some of them are scared because they know they're not going to heaven. They don't want to accept it.
They don't believe in heaven or hell,
Right.
But I got to run, guys. I'm way past time. Thank you for being here, Jennifer and Dick. Thank you for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
Good time and to Groove for showing up, and to Elf, whatever. I know you tried to get back in, but I got to run here, and I appreciate everybody jumping in. Thank you for those that donated. And I know it's hard to swallow. It's not an easy pill to swallow. But my audience is going to shrink down to the ones that really believe and those that really need to know. And
That's all you need, though.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And if you want to join the Patreon, join the Patreon. If you want to join the members only, join the members only. Members only is $5 for a month, and you get like 4 to 5 extra shows a month. That comes out on Thursdays. Very simple. Thursdays, $5 membership. You get the Thursday show. Tuesdays, Patreon. You join the Patreon, you get the Patreon show. But it's more expensive to join the Patreon because you get a huge swag bag. Those swag bag boxes are really nice. You get all kinds of stuff in them. Tomorrow night, Anthony, I don't know if he's still asleep or what. He's in the break room. He's not feeling good, guys. Give him a prayer.
God bless you guys.
I need to know what the show is for tomorrow night. You hear him in there coughing. Him and Tony both.
Drink some of that vitamin C emergency. I always take that when I get sick. It really does help. And the Zycam.
You want to sit down for just a minute? And you can tell everybody, that's a nice hoodie. The advertising the hoodie, that's good. Pull the string down a little
I
bit.
need one of those PRT hoodies.
Yeah, I see y'all are all cold and bundled up here. It's about time, isn't it?
I should have worn mine tonight.
Pull that one side is like
I just
way
got
up.
the chills.
Oh, you started getting sick again?
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hope I'm not going to get that. I had a headache all day long, dude, like bad. Just I almost didn't come in. Let me click you over here.
What's up, buddy? You okay?
Hanging in there. I just kind of feel like crap right now.
God bless you, buddy.
I'm wearing one of these hoodies in here because I got
Did you
the
take the
chills.
knack?
I haven't taken that today because I haven't had an empty stomach. I've just been eating.
Really? Because you didn't eat yesterday. Yeah. Show them the hoodie. Show them what you're wearing there.
There we go. Check it out.
That's nice.
That's that
Yeah.
gray, black on gray. That's a nice one.
That's
I like
cool.
that.
So what is the show tomorrow that's going to drop? You're the one that makes that decision. So I don't even know what it is.
Tomorrow, it's gonna be the recording. I just titled it like Dogman and then put a date on it. So I'm not real sure like exactly what story. It's gonna be a Dogman story, a werewolf Dogman, but I don't remember exactly which one it was that we
Yeah,
recorded.
because we recorded a bunch of them. We
Yeah.
just went through the emails and just started, getting those stories together and then just started recording them. And we've been doing it for
Yeah.
about 3 weeks. So
Triple up.
after every show, we just record.
hmm
Triple up or quadruple up on your NAC because you only absorb about 10% of it, eh?
He's right. I wouldn't triple up on that. I'd double, but I wouldn't triple. I wouldn't even. Richard tries to live on the edge.
Oh, go hard or go home, baby.
When you get down here, we'll take you to the gym and we're going to see you go hard or go home.
I can't
We'll see if
wait.
you survive the gauntlet.
I can't wait. I'm overtraining enough as it is.
But Texas has a lot of good food, so you got to be careful. You don't want to overeat because you'll be like, "Hey, man, I'm eating because I'm working out." Next thing you know, you're overweight.
Can't you just go to the steakhouses and just eat steak, though?
If you want to,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them here. I mean,
Yeah.
so here's the thing: there's cows everywhere. There's literally, it's no joke. That's not a stereotype. That's true. It's a real stereotype. There's cows everywhere, pastures all over the place. There's even down right here at the edge of town. They're just everywhere, and horses too. A lot of people have horses. So I got to tell you, guys, if you're interested tomorrow night in the show, I'm sorry that I can't tell you much about what it is. I'm sure it's a banger because we took a hard look at the next 2 months. Is just going to be solid, like good stuff. So join the Patreon tomorrow night. It won't be advertised. It won't be on the show. People ask me why it's not on YouTube, but you can go look at it and buy it or whatever. You can't. You have to join the Patreon. And if you join the Patreon, you'll find us on Patreon, right?
Yeah, the only place you're going to find that episode is on Patreon. You're not going to find it if you go to our YouTube channel. So please don't be sending us messages tomorrow. Hey, I'm on your YouTube channel. Where's the Patreon episode? Because we told you tonight it's not going to be there. You got to go to Patreon. It's the only place you're going to find it.
Okay. Now I'm going to say that nicely because that was very harsh.
Sorry, I just feel like crap.
Anthony feels like crap. Don't take it out on our audience, you little punk. Just go to the Patreon. That way you don't have to message us or anything and just say, hey, where's it at? Just go to Patreon, folks. and you will get your swag bag, and you will get a nice episode, a steaming episode, a warm, hot, delicious episode every week. The $5 gets you the episode on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Those are hour-long episodes, typically an hour. I think there might have been one or two that are a little over, one or two that might have been a little under, but that's about an hour. That's what we do. So anybody who's interested, go check those out. And Matthew says, Josh isn't lying. The Patreon is worth it. I'm glad. We just, Maddie and Tony will be putting a bunch of stuff in the mail. We just shipped it. We put it all into the car today.
Yeah.
So we got about 30 things going in there. Jason Finch, if you're around, you're listening, I got your message. It's going to be hard because if you can't do the email, it's hard for us to put it, to get it in there, because that's what Maddie and Tony and Anthony look at is the email. The email is right here.
We got his stuff together though.
You did?
Yeah, it's going to be mailed off
Okay,
tomorrow.
good. Then that's good. I got to get BMR stuff in there. I got him a couple of Lions hats and a Spurs hat just for good measure in case he wants to be a basketball fan. So giveaway winners, please send your name, address, and shirt size to giveaways@prtpodcast.com. prtpodcast.com, giveaways@prtpodcast.com. That's it right there. That's how you find it. That's how you do it. That's how it goes. Just so everybody understands, everything on this show is for entertainment purposes only.
It's all lies.
There you go.
Wink, wink.
Well, I didn't say it was all lies, but it's for entertainment purposes
Jokes.
only. You make up your own mind.
Jokes.
Yeah. Jokes.
Yeah.
But something to think about, right? And I'm telling you right now, I have a lot of friends that are a lot of different things. But there are people who are subsets who belong to certain groups who own and control and destroy our world. And if you are a follower of Christ, you need to be aware. Take the blinders off and look around you. You'll see. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on Wednesday. On Wednesday, it will be, actually, it's going to be a continuation of a Patreon show episode. And it is going to be a pretty fascinating show. A friend of mine, it's going to be his second encounter with a skinwalker, along with some of his daughter's alien abduction, how it started and what happened. And I will go over some of the stuff from that Patreon episode, but that episode hasn't dropped yet. It's going to drop, next week?
Yeah.
So if you want to go back and listen to the prequel, it'll be on the Patreon. So another reason to join the Patreon, because a lot of these shows are going to overlap, just like they did before, So nobody can say, well, they're just using you to go join the Patreon. No, because we always did that. The episodes of the pre-record, a lot of them overlap with the live stream. And the pod people would go, well, what's going on here? I don't understand. Where can I get the rest of this information? And I'll tell them. And then they go, I just don't understand. And you just keep telling them and they keep arguing. No, you just want me to go and cater to it and say, no, go find it. That's all. It's as simple as that. You guys are here. You're listening. You know where it's at. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. And thank you to everybody who donated. Debbie Cothra, Brian B., Jessica, Lunar Eclipse, Lawrence Morgan. And the Get joined for a membership there. Get your membership, $5. You get an extra episode every week. Every Thursday, you get an extra episode. And we love you. Good night.
Good night. God bless.
Love you
PRT, Nelly,
Bye, Jennifer, and bye, Dick. I'll see you guys.
Bye.
So that's it for tonight.
As I travel this life alone, two paths both unknown. For what already has this life shown? The first step I diverged from normalcy. No paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say. Less traveled, dark and cold, I came upon a fork in the road. I pondered, both mind free. The fall had come, for yellow is the all travel, for I'm but one. I could not sleep, for both were bent, the overgrowth and canopy. Where will destiny lead me? The first step I diverged from normalcy. No paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say. I began my journey on the road less traveled. Regret haunts me at times, looking back wondering where the other path myself would find. But both paths are traveled equally, for many take the zombie road to normalcy, and others seek individuality. From the wear on the trail it appears 50-50. With every footstep came pitfalls and risks, rewards and opportunities. Looking back, what did I really miss? The first step I diverged from normalcy. No paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say.